Good evening, everyone. Let's call to order the Board of Finance regular meeting, Thursday, March 19, 2026. It's approximately 6:01 p.m. Public comments? Any?
Sorry, I was the one who had not handed things out.
Thank you.
Pass those around for
Sure.
everyone to get.
Thank you.
So, good evening. Amy Morella, 184 Rimmon Road. I'm here to offer a few suggestions for the preliminary budget. The Board of Selectmen had minimal time to review the proposals, about 24 hours, so there are items that did not receive full consideration by the Board of Selectmen. The first is about the part-time economic development director. We need professional focus on economic development to help our balance sheet. 20 years ago, when I left office as first selectman, I was trying to find a part-time economic development director, and I shared this goal with incoming first selectman Ed Sheehy. 20 years later, our town is past due to make this a reality. While achieving this goal requires adding money to the budget, I'm guessing $50,000, there are also opportunities available to trim the budget. The first suggestion for trimming regards the Public Works Director. We have an opening for a new Public Works Director because a longtime employee has retired. Based on my observations of the job 20 years ago, which I believe hold true today, this role could be filled by a part-time person, saving the town considerable expense. A part-time position might prove attractive to someone who has already worked many years for the state or another town. Also, there's opportunity with the community center. I don't understand why our town should expand its functions and start operating a community center when we are facing an already tough budget and potentially significant increases in debt payments. And here's a solution. The residents who want community programs should set up a nonprofit and run the center themselves. This is the Woodbridge way in so many other instances. Massaro Farm, the Darling House, the new dog park, the Woodbridge Fathers Baseball League, and so many other volunteer organizations collectively help through volunteers to make this a great town in which to live. Our existing town government operations also rely on volunteers, from the fire department to the numerous boards and commissions. So why shouldn't the community center rely on volunteers too? In the case of the community center, the Darling House offers the perfect model. The town owns a physical building, be it the Darling House or the community center, which volunteers operate and maintain, but for significant capital projects. The existence of a nonprofit separate from government facilitates the applications for grants and frees up new ideas to be implemented quickly, rather than delayed by bureaucratic processes. The operation of the community center in this way would save the town $80,000 to $100,000 per year. If you see the community center line items for heat and utilities, also custodial help for the building and supplies, and as well as the plan for a part-time staffing. That money could be spent to pay down debt equivalent to $1 million or more annually. I also have a comment about bonding for paving and HVAC systems. I want to address that plan to borrow money for both of these purposes. Generally, the town should pay for recurring expenses with taxes alone, rather than borrowed money that increases the total cost by adding the cost of both interest and the bonding process. With respect to road work, the town has adhered to this thinking for many years, investing substantial resources, typically $700,000 to $800,000 per year to pay for paving. What is the justification to change that practice? With respect to HVAC systems, it may be that these systems have been ignored for so long that we have to borrow to catch up. But if we do, we need to commit to scheduling regular repair and replacement going forward so we can avoid the burdens of borrowing in the future. Further, it is my understanding that the duration of bonds is linked to the target's life cycle. So is it appropriate to bond roadwork and HVAC replacement for the same 20-year cycle as might be appropriate for roofs? I don't know the answer to that, but I think it's important to find out. Please check these proposals against the town's fiscal policies as you consider what borrowing is appropriate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kathy Wick, 181 Rimmon Road. A few years ago, a nonprofit think tank in Hartford published a study that ranked the per capita spending in each of Connecticut's 169 towns and cities. Woodbridge was ranked as the 10th highest spender in the state per capita. Only the wealthy towns on the Fairfield County Gold Coast, towns like Greenwich, Westport, and Darien, spent more per resident than Woodbridge. This is not a top 10 list we want to be on. Given that this is such a challenging budget year, with much worse to come in the very near future, I decided to take a current look at town spending and do some comparisons. And that's summarized on the sheet that I handed out before the meeting started. Instead of analyzing all 169 towns and cities, I narrowed my focus, looking at only the non-education spending in the 18 Connecticut towns that are around the same size as Woodbridge, between 8,000 and 11,000 residents. I did not include the school budgets. I only looked at the town operating budget because that is the part of the budget over which you folks and the Board of Selectmen have direct control. And our school spending actually is well within the norm for similar high-performing districts. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for our non-school spending. Woodbridge ranks first as the biggest spender in this group. It's a dubious distinction. This means that all the other Connecticut towns that are similar in size are able to pay their town employees, maintain their roads, provide for public safety, and perform all of the functions of local government at a lower cost, in some cases at a far lower cost than Woodbridge. As you know, Connecticut's small towns are not all the same, so direct comparisons are difficult. But I do believe that if you did some research, you would uncover many areas where Woodbridge vastly outspends other towns that are providing comparable services. I'll just give you one example. I called town clerk's office in a couple of towns, including here in Woodbridge, and asked how many hours per week were worked by their staff. This is a particularly useful apples-to-apples comparison example because the work of town clerks is really quite similar in different towns. In Woodbridge, where we have approximately 9,000 residents, 105 hours per week are worked in the town clerk's office. As I'm sure you all know, there's one full-time person who works a 40-hour week, 3 part-timers for a total of an additional 65 hours. In Orange, which has 14,000 residents, so it's 50% larger than Woodbridge, 80 hours per week worked in the town clerk's office, 2 full-time employees. That is 25 fewer hours worked in Orange in the town clerk's office than in Woodbridge, a town that's 50% larger. I grew up in Watertown, 25 miles north of here, so I checked there as well. That town is significantly larger, 22,000 residents, but guess what? Same number of hours worked as Woodbridge, 105 hours per week. They have 3 full-timers, each working 35 hours, but one of the employees is only a clerical support person, not a trained town clerk, so presumably at a lower salary. Still, this seems to me to be an interesting apples-to-apples comparison that shows that perhaps we could realize some efficiencies if we looked closely at the way some of our town departments are operating and compared to similar towns. Further comparisons in other areas of town government would, I predict, yield similar results. Let's make sure we are spending our dollars as efficiently as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Tony?
Okay. This monthly report is through February of 2026, and it's essentially a, from a budget point of view, a sort of breaks even in terms of the allocation from fund balance in the budget is $800,000, and I project a decrease of just under that. So from an actual cash perspective, it's a reduction to the fund balance of $790,000, which leaves us at $9 million, or just under 15% of our budget. Intergovernmental revenues have a surplus, and that's mainly related to two items: an additional $80,000 in town aid road funds, and additional $80,000 in special education excess cost grant funds. Charge for services, a shortfall of $160,000. There's some familiar items here from last month, including the lost rental income from the child center, a deficit of about $75,000 in the transfer station, and smaller deficits in rec fees and senior center fees. Those are the main revenue highlights. Legal fees and expenses. Legal fees are projected to are trending higher than budget, and we may have a shortfall there. We've had a number of tax-related cases this year, including some foreclosures and a number of appeals from the revaluation from last year. In addition, there's a number of land use cases that have cost more than we anticipated when we created the budget. Natural gas is in another area where I'm anticipating a shortfall in several accounts. As the weather starts to warm, I'll have a better idea of exactly how much we need to fund. The fire department has had a lot of challenges this year in their building maintenance and apparatus accounts. One of them is on your agenda for your consideration, the building maintenance accounts, which we can get into when we discuss their request. Finally, another item is police. We've discussed this previously, but there was a adjusted wage amount due to the settling of the contract with the police union, about $300,000. Human services, due to staff turnover, should have a surplus of about $20,000. Benefits, slight surplus of about $25,000. And finally, Amity reduced our March payment by a little over $300,000 from a surplus in their 24-25 operations. So it's been a busy and difficult year in terms of unanticipated expenditures this year.
Tony, any dimension on the legal fees and how far?
So I'm going to, it really depends on some cases, but it could be 40, 50,000.
Okay.
And we're currently analyzing with our legal firm the areas of focus, and they tend to be land use, tax, and then those are the two major items that we've spent a lot on. So the tax ones shouldn't go into next year, because a lot of them there's a few foreclosures which we get every year, which we budget for, but a lot of them were appeals that were from the previous reval. So I'm
related to reval or something.
Right.
Like most of them.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't think those will, but the land use cases
Yeah.
could be significant.
We are meeting with the attorney firms involved to better understand and see what we can do to manage it more, to a point of making sure they understand where we are and the limitations that exist. Much of it, as you might imagine, is not necessarily things that fall under our full control.
Oh, right. I mean, there's things that have hit us this year.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I mean, like I said, just have to ask us, because we're working on the budget, are we upping it for next year based on what we see this year and what we anticipate, or the number we have in the budget for legal fees, is that going to be, have we made adjustments based on?
We would like to, but we
Ah.
have to see where we'll adjust.
Well, I'm saying adjusting up, not adjusting down. So I just want to know, Tony, did we build that in, that sort of looking at?
We did build a little bit of an increase in
Okay.
for next year. Will it be enough? That I don't know.
Of course not.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure.
Something to look at.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Tony.
Okay.
No further questions. Next item, funding requests. And looks like we have about 7 here, or 8, 7. All right. I'll make a motion for line item transfer number 2526-16 in the amount of $3,000. And this request is to transfer funds donated from the Beth Wood Baseball League to the Parks Department. This for overtime costs and rental of portalets for the
I'll
baseball
second
season.
that.
And this is, that's
We do this
Dwight?
every year.
Dwight, every year?
Correct, yeah.
Yep. And I saw a letter from Mika to Dwight. Nice, thank you.
It's basically a pass-through, right? That's really what we're
Correct.
talking about.
It's
So-
it's
Just right in my face.
appropriating the funds
Sorry, do this right.
Yeah.
for use.
Let's move it to,
I have a question, just like a lot of the funding, so these went to the board of selectmen last week.
They
right?
did.
They're just not signed.
They're
off.
just not signed, yeah,
The
they're,
signed ones are,
but Donovan has
Yeah.
the signed ones.
oh, okay, good. I figured that was the case, I just,
yeah, Mika signed those,
Okey-doke.
yeah.
we're not out of control here. Okay, thank you.
All in favor? Alright. Next item, funding requests. I'll make a motion for funding request 2526-19. Might be out of order. In the amount of $20,000. This is to fund a deficit in the electricity account for the center building through June
find it.
2026.
Did you have 17 there? That's like 19.
Donovan, did we,
We went
Yeah,
through those in order.
I was just looking at 17 and 18.
Yeah,
We
17
skipped
and
those.
We can do it in order.
I know,
Do in order.
Beth seconded the motion on Bethwood.
Yeah,
Did we vote on?
yeah, we saw all in
Oh,
favor.
okay, all right.
Sorry, I had them out of order.
It's okay.
I didn't think it mattered. Okay. 16, 17. I'll make a motion for funding request 2526-17 in the amount of $5,000. And this is to fund additional services needed for Silver Petrocelli for a response to a contractor claim in regarding the fire department garage project.
So,
Any discussion?
And so,
Yeah.
can you elaborate a little bit on what's?
Do we- first we need to
about-
second
you just have
Right.
to, you need to put it,
Oh,
I'll
I'm sorry.
second that motion so we
Thank
can have a
you.
Thank you,
discussion.
Tom. Thank you.
I'm so curious, okay, sorry, Tom.
No,
Thank
sir.
you.
so when there's a claim under the AIA structure, which is what we have our contract with the for the project, the first step on that is for the architect is step one, to determine, to analyze the claim and each side's, claim on, and to make a determination as to what their opinion is. And so we feel it would be beneficial for us to do that, and so that's what this is for. I can't really get into the claim too much,
Understood.
but
Right,
Well, it's outside of the scope.
Any other questions for Tony? That's it. All in favor? Scott? Okay. Next item, I'll make a motion to funding request 2526-18 in the amount of $24,000. This request is for an energy audit of town facilities. The proposal does not include the firehouse, but we're looking to add that to the audit. It's
So
gonna cost a little more.
actually, just to update you on that, we've decided not to add the firehouse. At the time I wrote this letter, that was a possibility.
Yeah.
So if we don't add the firehouse, the amount of the request is 19,000, which is exactly half of the proposal that was attached.
is it okay to ask why we're not adding them, because it would seem
Because
to me
they're
it'd be more cost efficient
because
to do
back in
everything at once. but-
that's a good question. Back in September, we had already funded an engineer to start the documents.
Okay,
So they're actually further along in the process.
got it,
So it would have been sort of a waste of
got it.
time and money. That's why we
So
didn't
this
do
is now for 19, you said 19,000?
19,000,
Versus 24.
yeah.
And this cost will be split 50% by the town and 50% by UI. So
Correct.
the 19 is our share.
That's our share.
What's the value in doing something like this?
So they will go through and do an ASHRAE Level 2 energy audit, which is to analyze all of our town hall, our center building, the library, and public works, and the HVAC and the all of the mechanicals in those buildings, and identify ways to become more efficient. And we see this as a first step towards this HVAC project that we have to do.
So it's the first step in the
Right.
replacement.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question, how that related to that project.
Right.
When's the last time something like this was done, or has this ever been done? in the
So we
town?
did one in maybe 2012.
Okay. It's a while ago. There've been changes, I imagine.
And it's interesting, so the one that came out, there was a number of recommendations at that time, and cooling controls and variable speed drives and a bunch of other things. The only thing we did was the LED lighting, which was the sort of the low-hanging fruit.
Is it like at home where they provide the bulbs? Or,
Right, yeah, right, exactly.
Okay. So just so it's clear, I guess, the outcome of this will just be a series of recommendations and potentially some bulbs, right?
That's correct.
It's also necessary, it's kind of a needed audit, and from the perspective of working with various energy companies or energy organizations to actually put together a true comprehensive energy plan.
Okay.
So this is what they all recommend, and this is where it all starts.
For the next, okay.
And is the result of this audit also in their suggestions, do they suggest, I mean, I'm assuming they will know up front that we're potentially replacing HVACs in most of these buildings.
Correct.
So their recommendations will include suggestions on that in terms of, or not?
It'll be types of ideas for replacement
Okay,
of
that's-
various systems, and also could be helpful when we want to apply for a reimbursement. Some replacements have energy reimbursements through UI.
Okay.
And then you show proof of having an audit done, so it's kind of,
Right, that's sort of a.
all right, that makes
that's
sense,
why
'cause
that's why they
we know we
fund
need to
half of it,
replace
so
the
that,
boiler, you know, tell us
they
that.
want you to put in an efficient boiler, so they'll
Yeah.
you do the study, they look at your equipment, they'll say, well, you could put this type in and you'd save this much.
And it's from an engineering perspective as well, so it's like the load, the size, the particulars associated with what you're trying to do, it helps with that as well.
Will they provide input on like the structure of the building, like the extent to which it's simply leaching out heat that could otherwise be kept inside, or?
In other words, the efficiency of the envelope type of thing. I'm not sure,
I'm not
honestly.
sure either.
I'm not positive on that, but
would
it
be
seems as
helpful,
if most audits like that would.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I recall specifically having discussed.
Certainly home audits do that first.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice
good
if,
idea.
Certainly ask them.
Yeah.
maybe it'd be nice to have that. Maybe
Yeah.
it won't be nice to have that.
Information
be
is
nice.
always good.
When we did the school back in 2016, I think, they went around with a heat, like a camera, and did like a,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Seems like a fundamental thing, but
Yeah.
All in favor?
Wait, I think we need.
Second.
I had seconded it, but I think we need to amend it, because the motion was for 24.
Right,
Correct.
that's 19.
So,
Yeah.
I think the Board of Selectmen did 19 also,
yes, we did.
yeah.
so do we just get rid of do we just withdraw that motion and do a new motion for the new
From the 19, yeah.
The 19,000?
Right.
Because the motion was for 24,000?
Yes.
All right, so I'll revise my motion. Good point, Tom. I'll revise my motion for funding request number 2526-18 in the amount of $19,000. Second,
And I'll second that.
all in favor? $19,000, okay. Next one, funding request number 2526-19 in the amount of $20,000. And this request is to fund the deficit in the electricity account you just talked about, Tony, at
Right.
the center building through June 2026, primarily due to the addition of a new air conditioning unit in the gym.
Second.
Nothing to discuss there. All in favor? Pretty,
And seeing I keep asking these questions, Tony, I'm assuming that the budget for
Yes.
energy in the new one
Yes.
takes this
Yeah.
into account. Thank you.
Speaking of the cultural center, the next item on the, I'll make a motion for funding request number 2526-20 in amount of $10,000. And this is to fund the community and cultural center electricity account for anticipated use through June 30, 2026. Do we have a
Second again.
Question on this one. The community is it in use?
Well, there's a lot more systems in there now. There's a lot more people in there. It's not in use by the public, but
Mm-hmm.
there's because it's almost fully built out. they're using a lot more electricity.
Okay.
And there's a lot of contractors in there and sometimes,
So this is for the construction.
yeah, yeah,
Do
for the
you
construction
anticipate
period.
next year, because it's gonna be used, we assume that we might need, is there more in
I put more in the
next
budget for
year's-
next year,
okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Will the center have its own budget line, or
Yes.
any other discussions, questions? All in favor?
I knew this one was coming.
Yep. I'll make a motion to fund line item transfer 2526-21 in the amount of $118,000. And this request is to fund the deficit in the Public Works Department overtime account. This is due to the number of snowstorms this year, with most of them falling on a weekend. Did I get a second?
Second.
And question, is this is an addition, obviously, to the 55,000?
Correct. That's correct. And this leaves a little left in the account to fund what is typical for the department for the spring.
Okay.
I think it's like $4,000 or $5,000 I left in there just for,
Okay.
if there's a tree falls or, some kind of a rainstorm or something.
And this is just the overtime account,
Just
right?
overtime.
So just if it happens on the weekend or
Correct,
overnight
or
something.
after hours, right,
Mhm.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's from their within the department, so
Right.
we've
So there are
been
vacancies.
planning this for a while. Yes.
So, okay, so they've maintained vacancies.
Yeah, it's a highway salaries is mostly because there was an injury.
Okay.
So when the person's out on workers' compensation, we don't pay the salary, the insurance does. So that's what most of that is. And in contracted services or outside contractors, we were just able to, delay a few things we put off till next year, just to free up the funds to pay for the overtime.
Understood. No further discussions? All in favor? All right. I think I can probably do these two together. I'll make a motion to fund line item transfers 2526-22 in the amount of $10,700, and line item 2526-23 in the amount of $47,240. And these two are to fund the multiple ongoing HVAC issues at the fire department. The department has experienced a sprinkler pipe failure. In addition, the department has incurred rental fees associated with the training storage facility due to delays caused by the contractor.
Which is related to the other funding request.
$5,000. Yeah,
Correct.
it's funny I put those two together, but you have the numbers here. I get a second?
Second.
They've had a number of they've had a difficult winter. I'm sure you've heard about it at the fire commission, but
Yep.
the radiant floor heat failed, the heat exchanger, the makeup air unit. They've had a failure of their emergency repair of their circulator for their boiler. So they've had a number of challenges with their HVAC equipment this year. And then there's the rental storage. We had anticipated this project being done before that project started, so there wouldn't be a storage issue. But that did not happen.
How old is are the units there? Do we know?
For
Are
the
they-
firehouse?
Yeah, are they pretty old?
It was put in around '09. '08, '09, that neighborhood.
Seems like it was just yesterday.
Yeah, the new firehouse is
Like
definitely
It's
not the
new
old
anymore.
firehouse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Tony, I may have asked before, looks like the second one's coming from contingency.
Correct.
So how much do we start with contingency? 'Cause it seems
I'll
like we
sh-
get contingency.
Yep, I'll show you. There's a form here. It's a control sheet. So if you pull up the control sheet on the list of documents,
It should be right before the funding.
it's for the funding request. It shows you exactly all the funding requests that you've done on a nice handy sheet. and it has the first column is the total, all the requests for the first column. Then the
This
second
is on
column.
the same document, or is it
No, it's
somewhere
a separate document.
else? Okay.
If you look right above it, it says control sheet on the list of documents.
It's number 6.
So on March 11th,
Got it, got it.
March 11th, we had 91,000 left in our contingency. Is that taking into account what we're talking today, or is that?
Yeah, that's all the items today. That's what you have left, 91,000.
Okay.
So it was at 100, and as you can see,
We
102
start
was
with
done.
252.
Right, started at 300. Way at the top. And then these are all the contingency requests that have come out since.
And I guess I'll just ask the question, because when things come up early in the year, and maybe we're getting too late in the year for this to apply, it seems to me that in the past we've said, let's not do it with contingency, let's ask them to look at what is still in their budget.
Right.
Is that appropriate?
I do that as often as much as I can. That's why all of the money from the Public Works
Right.
came out of their budget.
I'm just wondering, do we look at that for this request, or?
We did, that's why a portion of it is coming out of their
Okay.
budget.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
just to be clear.
yeah,
And we have 300 assumed for next year.
correct.
I guess that's your standard policy, right? You see
Yes.
line item transfer inside
With
the budget.
inside the budget
If there's
first.
nothing, then you go to your.
Yeah, that's the policy that we
Yeah.
use.
Yeah,
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure people listening heard it as well.
Maybe this is not for this discussion, but are there areas where we more often end up borrowing from contingency or taking from contingency?
I mean, areas like departments
Yeah,
or?
department's sakes. I guess maybe that's more
Depends
an
on the
aspect
year.
of timing.
Yeah, and it depends sort of on the year. This year, it's been weather or HVAC related, a lot of the items,
Okay.
utility related items.
It's a nice sheet, I like that sheet.
Yeah,
It seems to me in the past, we've reduced some maintenance items
yeah,
with the hope that they wouldn't need it.
we
but-
have. I
But,
think we've done that a little too much.
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. If there are some items that were like masking the budgetary impact from, right, by,
Are we not funding enough?
correct.
Right.
That's correct.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think-
building maintenance was one.
I was gonna say, that was the one I remember from the budget
Yeah,
presentation.
yeah,
That's
and
when
that, you'll see that one goes
you
up
can
this,
fund me
for
now,
next
fund
year.
me later.
Right, right,
Yeah.
Right.
right.
You know, it's a good point you brought up, because I was thinking about that sometime this week, and I said to myself, if you have that many line item transfers, are you over budgeting somewhere? But I guess it works out, because if you're over here, over there, it kind of works out in the end, but.
It seems to me some of them are not really over budgeting as much as someone got injured, so we were lucky
Correct.
enough to,
It's-
and
it's-
I'm gonna say lucky, that's not what I mean, but, you know,
Right.
that you can't
That's
plan
true.
for that.
Right, that's
We were
true.
prudent in the beginning, and then it ended up not needing. We
Right.
Tried to plan for the future.
Right,
for
right.
The whole year, and then it worked out in our favor here and
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Rarely, but sometimes it does.
Very rare. Certainly didn't work out with snow this year, but,
Shh, don't even say that word again. Till March.
I agree.
Yikes.
Who seconded that? David second?
Is this the fire one?
Yeah,
I did, yeah.
So I'll make a motion, well, not make a motion, but all in favor for the very last,
Yeah.
one. Item 4, Moody's update to credit
Okay,
metrics.
pull that up. The next is,
The famous
I thought you'd find
Moody's.
this interesting. I know I find it interesting. Hopefully you do. So every year we
Depends on what
get,
you do for a living. Okay, well, just, I
No,
have to give
This is
that up.
important.
I figured it's somewhat timely considering the possible borrowing you're going to have to do. So every year Moody's updates our credit metrics. This is separate from if we go out to borrow money and we have to go to a rating agency to get a rating. But they update metrics for all the municipalities. And you can see it has our rating in the upper left, a no outlook on the AAA rating.
Can I ask what that means, no outlook?
It means that if you have below a AAA rating,
Yeah.
they'll put a positive outlook or a negative outlook. It's sort of like a warning, right?
Okay.
Like if you have a negative outlook on a AA rating,
Yeah.
you're saying you might get dropped
Good.
to a single A or a
Yeah.
double A
Gotcha.
negative or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So this is a good thing that there's no.
Yeah, I don't think they put outlooks on AAA's.
Okay. Good.
But if you look at the metrics, it's basically
It's not my field.
economy, financial performance, leverage, and fixed costs. And it has a history, a 4-year history. And the AAA median is on the right. It's a nationwide median. So in the first section, economy, you can see that the resident income ratio is, for Woodbridge, is somewhat above the median nationwide. And we're at 248%, and they're 167. So it just sort of gives you an idea. But the one to, and that sort of compares different metrics for growth in GDP. So you can see that we do pretty well there. The second is financial performance. And this one I wanted to highlight. I like to look at the ratios, the fund balance ratio. So you can see we're at about 17. From tonight's report, it was down to 15, but this is total fund balance. When I do my report, I do unallocated fund balance. Total fund balance also includes purchase orders and other things that are reserved for expenditures. But anyway, you can see we're at about 18%. You see the nationwide AAA rate average is 65%. That's because that would mean we need a fund balance of $42 million. And that's because a lot of municipalities nationwide have volatile sources of income, right? So in Connecticut, we have property tax, 99.5% collection rate, right? So the rating agencies know this, but in some areas nationwide, they have income tax or sales tax or other things that are very volatile. So they have to have higher fund balance ratios, or fund balance amounts, in order to support that. So that's one reason. So that's why it doesn't impact Connecticut as much.
It's also due to our dependence on resident tax income versus state funding.
Right. Yeah, that's also the good point. Because we have low grant funded, we're less reliant on state funds. Liquidity ratio is just the cash that you have as a percentage of your revenues. And then we have our leverage. These are our debt, pension liabilities, and OPEB liabilities, and other liabilities as a percentage. You can see we do well here. This is something I always keep a track of and try to improve as often as possible, because this is a long-term item. You can't just change these liabilities overnight. They're very complicated, and so you really have to make sure you're paying attention to these. So you can see we do very well here. And then you have fixed
AAA
costs.
median is much higher.
Right, much higher.
Right.
Right. If you look at the percentage, it's much higher than Woodbridge. We're like half. And I just want to, and so if you look at the third to fourth page, it gives you all the definitions. So if you can sort of see what everything is. So I find that helpful.
Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
I just had a quick question. I think we're crushing all the other metrics except OPEB contribution.
Mm-hmm.
The median is 543. We're almost double that, looks like. Does that mean anything?
I would say with OPEB, that's other post-employment benefits.
Yeah.
We do not offer health care and retirement for any of our employees past, it's different dates, but basically 2017 to 2019.
Okay.
So that's the positive news, is that the liability is not growing exponentially as we hire new employees. We don't fund it a lot. In the budget, we don't have a huge amount funded towards it, so we're it's not a huge issue, but it's not, we didn't fund it to get rid of it. We're still 30-40% funded.
So Tony, the metric that will change, right, with the plan that we have in
Is the leverage part.
Well, it's the leverage part, right?
Yeah.
So is there a threshold number on borrowing that would compromise the AAA rating?
I think it's more of a complete picture. It would be like, why are you borrowing it? How does it fit into your debt? It looks at a number of different things. It certainly will put stress on it.
Mm-hmm.
And but whether it changes or drops it, I'm not sure yet. I have to do a little more analysis on that.
Yeah, I guess where the threshold is,
Right,
as we're
right.
making choices.
Right. Where would the threshold be where it would make a significant difference.
Right.
And that's why I'll work with our financial advisor to try to avoid that through financing, through smoothing out the debt as best we can by taking advantage of I have debt that comes off before we put it on. There's a number of different things we can do to, I mean, you can't work miracles with a, $60 million bond issue or whatever if you do that much.
No,
But
I mean, it's gonna
be an impact.
It'll increase these by multiples, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna ask a stupid
So
question.
there's some
If-
room here, is I guess my point.
I mean, clearly if we go to bond on everything that we have on our plate, I'm assuming that our rating will go down. But I'm also assuming we will not be in a position to go to bond for anything else. So at what point, how important is the bond rating if you're not anticipating, that AAA rating is critically important as we go to bond?
It just lowers your cost to borrow.
But I mean, but I'm saying if you're not planning on borrowing
Right.
again, then, and I don't know how
So
quick.
is it pre or post?
Right, yeah, and-
Do we get hit after we?
Usually do the rating, well, with this will, if you move forward with this school project, it'll be a series of bond issues. It's not gonna be, you're not just gonna go there and borrow $60 million in one shot, because the project could take 2-3 years, whatever. So we would borrow as the cash is necessary.
And the impact would be as
So the
you're
impact
borrowing.
would be as you're borrowing. Right? It could be 10, 30, 30, or whatever, I don't know, 10, 30, 20, or whatever, however it's necessary.
And Tony, does do growth initiatives play into that at all?
Absolutely. When we do a rating agency presentation, there's an entire section focused on economic development and, any potential new development, because they always like to look, in addition to looking to what your costs are going to be, they want to see if there's any growth, or the opposite, you're losing value. So that's always a big focus of discussion. Hasn't been in ours because, we typically don't have much growth, but when I was in other towns, sometimes, usually when we have a rating agency presentation, it's just me. In some towns, bigger towns, they may have the economic development person, they'll have the, different experts. So the answer is yes, that definitely plays a role.
Thank you.
Good point. All right, thanks, Tony.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda, approval of the minutes, February 19th and March 4th. I'll make a motion to approve those. If you
I have
no
a change to one, which I am trying to find. It was for the very last meeting, which was what, the 4th? And there's a line, which I can't find right now, but I can roughly quote, that had to do with the board, settled on trying to achieve a 3% mill rate, but it's trying to stay below a 3% increase in mill rate. I just think that word's missing.
Okay, I see that.
Thank you.
Mill rate of 3 would be great, wouldn't it?
That's what I said.
That's what we're just talking about.
Turn off the lights.
Who said that?
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Any other comments? None? Seeing none?
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Next item on the agenda, I know last meeting we had talked about doing the police facility walkthrough to give context into seeing what the facilities look like. And I guess just an open discussion, I thought that we should probably do that on its own separate day based on the availability of the chief. I think they leave at 4 o'clock, which is
8 to 4, I think.
8 to 4, so a little tough during the week, I imagine, for most people.
I'm looking at them stay a little later.
So I
Just for us.
attended their meeting this week.
Oh, did
And
you?
mentioned to them that this was coming, and they were happy to. They actually had another recommendation that we should see a comparison as well. So they've gone out and done some comparison visits, like Old Saybrook or whatever. So they said there's one thing to see our place, and then there's see another town, so.
See, the other thing too, because the walkthrough is just for the Board of I was thinking in terms of the public.
Mhm.
Should they present something to the board? And we talked about it, Tony, you mentioned maybe they, when they're further along with the architect.
Yeah,
and
when the
stuff like that.
architect has, we,
But we'll still do our
Yeah.
walkthrough, but,
Yeah.
Is it
something,
possible that we could get that recorded so folks could see? I don't know.
I'm not sure if they would want to record.
I would, yeah.
Maybe
To
not,
walk through?
maybe not the, some of the, maybe just, yeah, good point. We don't wanna show everything.
Right.
But
Maybe they can show highlights.
but
or
some of
just
the
little
highlights of kind of
photos.
the dilapidated areas or
I would expect
something
the
like
building
that.
committee, once in place, that they would provide the type of information you're looking for as part of their overall process,
Okay,
so that they will also, to the public.
yeah.
In other words,
okay.
before we do things, there will be public, there'll be, what do we call them, open discussions with the public,
Yeah.
or open houses and things of that nature, talking about what's there and what the design is going to look like. So certainly there will be information passed on to the public in terms of what it is and what they're hoping to go to.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I talked to a couple of the commissioners as well, and they were suggesting, perhaps going, they said Old Saybrook because they thought they had done something comparable to what they were thinking. And my take on it, I mean, I'm happy to go and see it, but my take on, first, let's see how bad it is over there first. And then maybe we, as part of when the building committee comes back with proposals, maybe at that point, we could go see what other places have done, potentially. I don't know that,
Recent renovation.
yeah, I don't know that I particularly need to see a beautiful renovated police department as part of my need to renovate what we have here is the only thing.
Gives you police department envy, right? Of,
Yes.
what it could be or something.
I hear that North Branford has the Taj Mahal of.
Really?
It's a new facility as opposed, that's why, one of the reasons they went to Old Saybrook was, Old Saybrook is
It's
a
a renovated
renovated
facility, yeah.
space that they acquired. I think it's an old central office, as a matter of fact, one telephone company central office that they renovated, so more
Similar.
comparable than a brand new facility.
Understood. So we'll coordinate with the
Yes.
chief.
Yeah, we'll coordinate the chief, and then we'll send out a time. I mean, would that work for everyone, or do you need a little later? I'm not sure, like, what time would be.
You were talking about what, 4:00?
April, May.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be sometime in April.
April, May.
Yeah.
I have some travel planned, so maybe if we have an array of dates.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
certainly gonna make it the
I'll have
time work.
Gay.
I just need
Okay,
to,
I'll have Gay send out some dates, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And do we
Spring
want to
break
include the
week
Board of
coming.
Selectmen as well, just so they only have to do it once? Because I'm assuming, I don't know if.
We could.
they've done that.
We could,
I mean, just,
we could suggest anyone who can make it kind of thing.
Good call,
So was 4:00 would be the earliest?
yeah.
That's when their
Is that
day
the
ends,
end
is
of
that
the
what
day?
I understand, because their meetings are held at 4.
Yeah, that's when the day ends,
Yeah.
correct.
And Gay, we just have to check if it's just a tour where there's no real discussion or anything else, whether it needs to be noticed as a meeting or not. It's just
Okay.
just take the extra step to be certain.
I will.
It's a good
Idea.
point. Yep.
good call.
All right. Next item on our agenda, the review of the budget. And Tony,
Okay.
since we last met, you had some updates?
Yep, I've done a few things here. The updated budget amount that you have, which is 62,492,938, and that's a 2.29% increase in expenditures, and a amount to be raised in taxes of 57,568,781, and a mill rate of 34.15. That includes the following items.
Sorry, Tony, in the, and Gay,
Yeah,
in
where,
the
I gotta
folder.
find out where
Oh,
this
okay.
is.
Which,
This is the new updated budget summary,
Right,
right?
correct.
There's like a folder inside.
It's in the budget, the
in
Board
that
of Finance.
red- I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's
go ahead.
called updated.
Yeah, it was just the new material. It's a folder inside the red one that says Board of Finance.
Right.
It's the one that's, it's the one on the bottom that says
Right at the top,
3:17
very
to
top.
3:50
Open
PM.
the folder, and it's the first document.
that the one, Gay?
Thank you
That's
so
a summary
much.
anyways, yeah, no worries.
It's dated on the very bottom on the
Fabulous.
footer. It says
This?
3/17/26,
Yeah, that's a ticket.
3:50
Great.
PM. Is that the one, Tony?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's the one.
Okay.
Got anything new from the last couple days?
thank you.
So what I did in this document is the following. I removed the $550,000 from the sale of 2 town properties. The town benefits were reduced by $276,000 because we have no increase in our health care. So the rates are flat.
Awesome.
So that saves the town $276,000. I put that in there. Amity, budget was reduced by $187,666 to $20,475,127. The Amity Board of Education approved a 1.2% increase at their meeting on March 9th. So I put that in there.
This says Amity 1.65, am I in the wrong?
That's our percent.
Our percent,
Yeah,
okay,
because
gotcha,
ours goes
gotcha,
up a little
gotcha.
more than,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, all right, thank you.
Yep. The
Forgot that.
capital budget was reduced by $245,000 to reflect the following changes. One, the $15,000 for the human services bus purchase. The cost of the bus has almost doubled since we last applied for a grant. And so Jeanette is not certain she wants to go this route and is looking for other options, including using buses and sharing buses with other towns. And so I discussed this with her, and she said we can remove that $15,000 because we do not plan to go for a grant at this time.
Okay.
Second, $150,000 was removed from public works equipment. I'm currently working with the staff to develop a dump body for a cab that we have. And I believe we have existing capital funding that could help resolve that issue. So that was removed.
Okay.
Adam in the Parks Department has taken another look at his vehicle and has removed a plow from it because his thought is that he could just share a plow with another vehicle during snow and not have its own plow, and that saves $13,000. And finally, the $67,500 for the compactor and container replacement was pushed out 1 year at the transfer station. I discussed that with the staff, and they feel we can last another year.
And that's in this document? So when I see the parks.
Okay, so let me clarify.
Was that like on the capital?
It's on capital.
Okay,
Yeah. So if you take the last line.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why there's a drop off.
Right.
Got it.
And that foots to the schedule that's in your folder for the capital budget. So if you go in the capital budget, you'll see all these changes.
Yeah.
The item that's not in here is the Board of Education. And so they have a new budget for their the impact of the healthcare on their budget. So it's 19,060,938. So that is a further reduction of
200,000.
yep. 167,01.
I'm gonna have you take a look at
Can
my
you plug
healthcare
that?
and figure out how you got
It took us a long time to get.
Yeah.
And that one wasn't, I mean, I was just gonna ask you, Tony, for the town, because I know I talked to Chris, I had a meeting with him, and he said that their claims were good, so they came in at 0% increase, but
Right.
it wasn't a 0% increase because some people
Yeah, they had
signed up.
Right.
That hadn't been signed up.
correct.
Did any of
Yeah.
that happen at the town level?
The opposite,
Oh,
actually. Some people could,
Left.
left.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
great.
Usually on police that happens.
Donovan, was the Amity, the Amity savings was from healthcare as well? The 187 or whatever
They reduced the number of FTEs that,
they did. How many FTEs are they?
don't quote me, I didn't see the last meeting, but they came in at 1.2%. Prior to
Right.
that, they were at 1.54 with all four, so I imagine they probably reduced it by at least a couple.
They took 200,000 out of, I think, the risk pool, whatever that,
Oh, okay.
risk accounts. They made some, they had a whole long discussion about whether they, because I listened to it, whether there was a proposal to remove a lot of money from the salary account because it was often a surplus. And they instead of doing that, they took it out of something to do with risk, the risk categories. They agreed to take a little bit more risk and find $200,000 in savings there. I think that FTE was left at 4 new ones, but
Were they?
I'm not sure.
So they
Yeah,
went
I
from
didn't
6
see
to
that.
4.
From the
Nice.
original 6.
Yeah.
That's what I understood as well, Tom.
Okay.
And that'll mean they're moving forward with that schedule changes and
Yeah.
everything else, right?
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Sounds-
based on
There was a
that.
long discussion about
Right.
that, and the end result was they decided not, if, it was a very confusing meeting, but
Yeah.
it appeared that what they decided to do was to leave it in the hands of the superintendent, who appears to be going forward with that change.
Okay, so most likely those were those heads were. That's what I was trying to link it to this, but got it. Okay.
And again, I think because we did send something to them saying we weren't particularly happy with their budget, I don't know whether we want to, it's not on our agenda, perhaps not on our agenda today, but maybe on our agenda
Right.
before, that maybe we want to, I don't
Seemed
know,
like there were a
revisit,
lot
at
of
least have a
entities
discussion
that
about
were-
it.
That were not in favor.
Yeah, something, I mean, just, because we did send it initially, there's been changes, I
Right.
think we have to revisit it at some point.
Okay, so Amity found it in some of their risk associated with salaries or,
Not, they specifically said they didn't want to take it out of the salary line item.
okay.
But out of, sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't truly understand what they meant by
Yeah.
the risk categories, and so I'll leave that to people who have better knowledge on what that would mean.
So they, year over year, they've always carried forward a surplus in their salary line, and the explanation was pretty simple. Let's say you budget $100,000 to hire someone, you were able to hire someone at 50. So that was the explanation. So maybe I assume, I didn't get a chance to watch the Board of Ed meeting, but it sounds like
It was an interesting
That's-
discussion, because the folks from Orange sort of went back and looked at the last 6 years and said that the salary line item was always 600,000 above every single year. And they didn't like that idea and suggested dropping it by 200 this year. I mean, instead, the board decided to take it from elsewhere. I'm going to mention it because every time we look at the Beecher board, there is a surplus in their, and is again, I think, Tony, a surplus in their salary line as it goes forward. But I, as a liaison, I met with Chris and I said, how is this happening? And it's happening because it took them a long time, it took them a few months to fill a position, and they're struggling to fill a paraprofessional.
so you'll have that.
So it's, it's an open rec, not, that they're trying to fill, not a.
So did Amity reference at all savings in the healthcare line like Woodbridge was able to find?
No, they're self-funded.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all cash. So Tony, I see you have your live spreadsheet. If you don't mind plugging in the new Beecher number.
Okay, I did that.
And what's their,
And we have a, give me 1 second here.
now we're at 2.29 without Beecher. What are we with Beecher?
Okay. The expenditures are 2.02% increase. And the amount to be raised by taxes is a 5.03 increase. And the mill rate's 4.38.
I know last time we met, we had a few memos from the departments that we were gonna go back to the fire department.
Right.
And, who else were we gonna go back to? Town
Police.
clerk or someone?
Town clerk,
Library,
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 Please.
police.
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 Fire.
Did we hear back from anyone? I know from our conversations, just for public knowledge, we've decided to centralize the cleaning. So now,
Right, so there's still gonna be some cleaning, but the town is going to provide some custodial assistance to the fire department, so that line is no longer an issue.
that's great. Did we get feedback on the cyber?
Just that it's a critically important item for them, and that, they would request that that one in particular.
I did see a memo from the library, the director of the library, and he made a suggestion where if we, I don't know if anyone had a chance to read the memo, if we reinstate his salary line for part-timers, he can find the savings somewhere else in his budget,
Right, correct.
which, I mean. it's
I
good-
want to commend him
it's
for
good
what he did,
suggestion.
which was precisely what we asked him to do, which is to say, you know, the Board of Selectmen reduced your, you know, your request by this amount of money. Let us know what you think, and he went through and said, I want to keep it in the salary line, but I found the same ones in others, so I want to absolutely commend him for that.
I agree.
And I
Yeah.
think that's great, and
Yep.
I would suggest carefully to go back to, I guess it's fire and town clerk, and sorry guys in the back of the room with, you know, requesting some money back into their budget. If there's a way to look at it, to see if there's other places that they would prefer to take it out of. I think if people agree, we can ask them to do that and let them know that we will honor, you know, how they want us to do it. Because I'm personally loath to put stuff back in that the Board of Selectmen took out, yet at the same time, I don't want to hamper things. And that's why I was particularly pleased with what the library did. And just say that, you know, if they come back and say, no, we looked every single place and we can't find it, we still have time before, you know, after the preliminary town meeting to make changes again.
You could, yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, either way, yeah.
So this is just for context, this is the fire department and,
Town clerk,
Town
police.
and police. We haven't heard back from police, have we?
Not other than the original memo.
Yeah, we haven't heard.
And I saw something from
GATV.
GATV.
GTV, yeah.
In GATV's instance, you have to keep in mind that it's a single line item. There's not a lot of other places
Yeah.
to pull from. So it's either, it's labor. So,
Okay, good point. I didn't
You know,
know, I
it's-
couldn't
yeah.
remember if there were some supplies and
so it
stuff.
really comes down to, do we want to film less, or do we want to?
Well, that was, what is the impact, right?
Right, well, that's what I was thinking. I don't know if Board of Selectmen thought we would need them less for, you want record some meetings, or what was the logic behind reducing the, I've seen they went over budget last year by
Right.
about $4,000,
Right.
and, now they're about $5,000 lower than
Right, so they have to tape less.
requested. So, I mean, just record, I don't know how we quantify.
There's, what we can do is see if there's any opportunities for grants that
Yeah.
would pay for labor,
Mm-hmm.
along those lines. And we have to manage and identify what it is we can or can't do. Right now, filming is not a mandate by the state. It's not something that's required by the
Yep.
state. We use it, and we've used it quite a bit. And we use it not only in terms of just make for transparency and for people to be able to see the meetings, but also we reference specific things in our minutes and things of that nature. So again, not a requirement right now. At some point in time, it could become something
Yeah.
along those lines. I haven't heard any legislation proposed as yet that would make that the case. And it was just a matter of looking through the budget and identifying any areas
Yeah.
that we could potentially control.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's $5,000, and I mean, do a good job with our contingency. If you need the extra cash, we can always go there.
And I
But
would
it is-
suggest, because I think, Mika, correct me, I think that you have, I don't want to say reconstituted, but at least repopulated, if that's the right word, the commission or whatever, the
Yes.
advisory board. And I'm assuming that they are the ones who would say, in some fashion with input, that this meeting, you know, if we have to choose, like, you know, this meeting is absolutely essential to do it. I'm assuming our meetings should be taped, Board of Selectmen should be taped.
We've identified, and with the help of the GATV staff, we've identified, for example, what the review rate is on different meetings, things of that nature. So we're trying to use as much statistical data as we can find to identify what's best, what should be done, and what should not. The core groups, as you would imagine, TPZ, Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen,
Board of Education.
Board of Education, inland wetlands, things of that nature, those particular decision-making type boards and commissions would continue to be filmed. We'd
So
like
you
to-
think that, you think that the current budget is enough that we would record all the ones you just mentioned all the time, or most of the time, or?
We should be able to handle those and more.
Okay.
So there are others that are what I'm going to reference as popular based on, in relative perspective as far as others. In other words, how many views you get, whether it's a good amount or not enough, is that's subjective. That's up to the, you know what I
It
mean?
also depends on an initial, maybe there's a particular board that has something that's sort of a hot topic.
Correct,
The public
correct.
has interest.
I can tell you we had very, very few views for inland wetlands, for example.
Until recently.
Right.
And then not only did you get a lot more
It's a
views, you
prime
got a lot more
example,
people.
but I
That's a
mean,
great
right.
example.
When something,
All of a
when
sudden
something
it's a
happens
big
there,
deal.
so.
That's right.
And we, obviously we react to that. If there's something
Right.
that we feel is critical, we
Right.
react to that.
Yeah.
Having the budget to be able to do that is important,
Yeah.
so that we can. It's not only the filming, we have a tendency to only think of it as a filming,
editing of this.
but we do have to edit the material and manage the material in a way, because it does have to go on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's, it's all of that goes into this.
Sure.
And, I felt that, hey, we should do as much as we can, be as transparent as possible and get as much out there so that people don't have to
Absolutely.
feel they need to attend the meetings in order to know what's going on. But budget
And I'll
is.
just put a plug in, because I spend too much time watching them. And they do a great job, so thank you. I just want to say that you feel like you're at the meeting, so,
So,
I just had one question. Nick had mentioned grants.
that is Nick. but-
That was Nick, sorry, Nick, apologies. You had mentioned there are grants that you could apply for?
Yeah, can we talk about?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so there's I don't even know if people can hear me because I'm not.
Can't be
We
in two
talked
places at
about,
once.
so every year we get a cable advisory grant, which is I think 20 or 30,000.
Yep.
And we discussed that if you go along with, it's ultimately it's ultimately your decision what you do with the budget. So, so if you decide not to do that, we can use some of those funds to fund what I think we should, because it takes time to edit, and I don't want to do a bad job with the meetings. If I'm going to put them out, I don't want to just I go through them and I put the titles up and stuff. For this, there's already titles up because it's a live meeting. But what was I saying?
So it gives, yeah, so we get, so far, we've been getting, this grant, it's about a little over $20,000.
Okay.
And the re-energized commission will be able to help with Nick's assistance to, help prioritize,
And what I was
grant
thinking
funds.
would be, oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
What I was thinking is I would use 2/3 of it for our budget, and then use 8,000 or 9,000 and have capital projects to do. And then maybe some years we need less of that, and then we can fix other things the computer is 15,000 that we
Right.
are recording on, and cameras 1,500. But we don't need a lot of those right now. But a camera we used to film the fire meeting is 3,000. So if that ever breaks, but we have backups and stuff, and we have too many SD cards, and so some stuff we have a lot of, and so we don't need those things. But and we have backups of certain things. But I like to back up the meetings in case people need them for legal things. So we have hard drives upon hard drives of things from, and then once they're old, I delete some of them and put new ones on there, and so that's kind of the process. So sometimes when I'm doing things, I'm just backing up things to other things and transferring things to. So that's kind of what. When it's the hours, it's sometimes I'm doing that. Sometimes I come in and I'm just doing maintenance stuff. So might look like I'm not doing it, but I'm backing up things, and that's that. I don't know if anyone else has any.
That's a quick question, Nick. Have you seen anything in the tech space, AI space that would reduce the time spent editing? And if you don't, I'm just
I will
curious.
be honest. I mean, my personal views on AI don't really matter because this is
I don't know.
a
Sorry.
Board of Finance meeting for a
If you
town I
don't-
don't
if
live
you
in.
don't,
But I would not. I mean, I probably wouldn't use AI. So if you're gonna do that, I mean, that's not something I would, because I've used AI before to do like a transcript for somebody, and then I had to fix it all.
Yeah.
So it came
You
out
definitely have to
completely
review.
wrong, and then I had to fix it. And we can. It's not the meeting for that, but like the water usage and the environmental impact of AI, that's a whole nother thing.
Thank you.
But
And
Thank you.
but all topics that would be considered during the GATV meetings at this point in time with the new commission. These are
Yeah.
the types of things that would be discussed, and they would start to manage it. And the benefit being, obviously, right now, anything that we're talking about, anything that we're looking at is all done by staff, and it's time to move it.
Okay. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
In terms of in terms of the capital budget, I just had a quick suggestion.
Okay.
And, as I consider one of the items that's still there is the truck for the fire chief.
Okay.
And because it's so new, such a new vehicle, and we had kicked around some options, leasing, and leasing is out of the question because there's too much customization. You'd have to buy it or lease to own. And it's a silly question, but do we have a vehicle inspection policy? Do we have an independent audit done on town vehicles? As far as we know, it could just be I'm not a mechanic, but a blown fuse, a battery. I mean, do we even know? I would
have to get it.
I would suggest taking it out of the budget until we're able to independently verify.
You're talking about his vehicle?
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
really wrong?
It doesn't
with
work. He drives it and it just shuts off.
Yeah, so we've asked in the past, I think,
Yeah.
to get some clarification because,
don't know.
and I'll just say, I asked Beth because she was sitting on the fire commission, and we were talking about we had the discussion with the police department about why we replace their vehicles with low mileage, and that's because they got to keep the engines running all the time because of their electronics. So I am right now unclear what is the customization required for the fire chief's vehicle, and I'm unclear as to what is causing the problem. I mean, if it's an electrical issue with the car itself, that could be prohibitively expensive to diagnose and fix.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the mileage is or how old the car is, because I had a friend who spent way too much money on a car he liked too bad, too much.
Corvette.
And it was a Corvette, and he could not figure out what the electrical problem was. So it was one of those jokes like get out of the car, open and close the door, and maybe it'll work, sort of thing. But so I don't really understand. I mean, for me, the chief needs a car that works, and he's telling us it doesn't work. Maybe we ask for a little bit of clarification about what isn't working and what he has actually done, not to second guess him, but to just so that we have a storyline that says this is why we're replacing this vehicle. He has to have one that works.
My understanding, he just drives it and
It stops.
It just stops working and
The engine
driving
just
it.
shuts off.
And I don't know.
No, it's not the engine, it's the, all the electronics.
The dash.
The dash.
It could be a spark.
All that stuff.
It could be a.
I'm assuming
doesn't
it's
know
not.
how
I'm
fast it's
assuming
going,
it's
he
not
doesn't have
something
your lights.
simple because he would have.
And it's very low mileage right now. Right?
Very
That's-
low.
that's
That's the
what-
problem.
and that's what-
Compared to the
that's what,
assistant chiefs, yes.
That's what's brought
what
up to me by others as well, is in
Sort of
terms of with the
kicking
low
them out.
mileage cars, or any means, along the lines of what Donovan is, I think, suggesting, is there any means by which we can have it brought somewhere to be assessed? So that we can get a report from an authorized
Comfort
mechanic
level.
or somebody that's.
That may have already happened.
Yeah, I think we
It
just.
may-
Been to the
I'm assuming he's done that.
Two meetings
So we
so
should.
far, so. I haven't.
we should assume that he's done it and asked
My
for.
understanding
But
is
we
that
haven't,
it is
we don't
not
have
We haven't seen it.
documentation. We
Right.
don't have
I can
documentation.
ask for the documentation,
Yeah.
if that's helpful.
But my understanding is that it is not, but getting documentation, I think, is reasonable.
I mean, I'll
It's
just
not
point out that I have
repairable.
I have a
It's
two-year-old car with,
Same.
with under 30,000 miles, that the wonderful dealership informed me that there may be a problem that my dashboard will just go blank. And they don't have a fix. It's been a year and a half, they don't have a fix. Knock on wood, it hasn't happened, and hope it never does, but maybe he has some similar thing and it's not drivable. I mean, so I think it's a fair thing to
That's kind of my
ask.
understanding that it is not, but I'm not the expert. He
Yeah.
is, so. If he's
So-
watching, he's probably gonna
Going
send us
crazy.
a memo.
No, it just makes sense, for us to do that.
Because I just want to ask Tony, as we're discussing this, you said 2.02%, that's our operational budget increase?
That's correct.
But the overall is a 5.03, and that's going to be in capital, the difference.
No, the 2.02 is the expenditure budget increase.
Okay?
Because you've lost revenues.
Oh,
we
lost revenues, yeah.
They dropped 23%. The non-tax revenues, you have to collect more in taxes to
It's the
balance the
motor
budget.
vehicle.
It's the motor
It's a
vehicle
motor
piece.
vehicle grant, yeah.
I guess the other point, I don't wanna, if anybody else has any ideas
The operating?
on the operating or capital, but, I know last time we had taken out the sale of the two properties.
Correct.
And if you wanted to revisit that and see if that's, something we wanna put back in the budget, or,
I would suggest that if we have something on non-recurring capital, that we feel confident that if we don't sell the property in 26, 27, we can put it back into the 27, 28, put that capital back into 27, 28 with no major hiccups, is the only way that I would modify the current budget with those properties. It has to be, look at our capital that we plan to spend this year, find something, and
what do you think, Tony?
The only item the first one that comes to mind, only because there's really is the town hall water incursion. Because we really have no idea what the problem is. And so, I'm not sure 130,000 is too high, too low, there's no,
Right.
and we've had it for a while, right?
It's been
So it was
for a
worse
while.
because of the winter, but
right, it's been doing that for a while, so I think we should at least do it it's been years, yeah.
Years.
So we at least need to do some exploratory, we have a little bit of money for exploratory work, which we put in this year, just to try to do some of that, but that's the one that I think you could consider. I mean, it's not related to like a lease payment or some sort of obligation. And then there's the vehicles.
Right.
and some of the vehicles have already been moved. Is there any other vehicle other than that you, I mean, again, I think we have to talk to the folks and say, what happens if we don't replace that vehicle this year because we don't sell the property for as much money as we thought?
Well, based on what we know, these properties are not appraising for $550,
Right.
right?
I mean,
What if we,
if I could suggest, you could even put like some money in a building maintenance reserve fund or something to,
I don't know that I would bank on anything in a budget we go forward with to the town, assuming the sale of the properties.
If I'm understanding what Tom's suggesting and what we've had some discussion on is if there are identified items from a capital perspective that could potentially be delayed for a year, with the intention, obviously, of getting them done. Could we delay those for a year? So from a budget standpoint, we're not counting on anything. We're saying we're taking them out, and we're going to put them in the following year's budget unless we are able to secure funding through the sale of the properties that would then pay for those. So we're kind of earmarking those projects tied to the sale of the property. But from a budget standpoint, it's not contingent upon selling the property, because I understand what your concern is there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, two concerns. One, and it sounds like we're not covering ongoing expenses with a one-time,
Right.
which was the principle.
no.
Right.
It's not
And then
allowed.
secondly, that we would alter the budget that we go forward with on the assumption that the properties are sold.
On the potential of the properties getting sold.
And I think what we're talking about doing, Scott, is to actually alter the budget. So we're gonna reduce the budget in effect by saying, I don't remember, how much is the water?
130,000.
130 for the water.
That's a
incursion.
maybe.
A rough
Right,
estimate of
right.
130 for the water
Yeah.
incursion in the town hall. We will take 130 out this year.
And potentially delay it.
And basically, we're taking it out this year unless the town agrees to sell property and it brings in enough money to pay for that.
And if it doesn't, then it's 28.
And then it's in 2017.
If we're moving to capital, right? One of my big concerns is we have $7 million worth of projects for fiscal 27 that are not. We don't have any debt service in fiscal 27 on them, right? So we're sort of pushing those out, right?
Sorry, when you say we have 7
So
million?
if you go into the capital budget, we have $7 million for the paving, the water incursion. There's
Police department. Is it the police department?
No. Police department's not in that number. We can
It's
pull
the
it up.
roofs.
The roofs and the
Right, the roof, I'm
mechanicals.
sorry, yes, the roofs, the
Right,
HVAC,
right.
right?
So can I go back? Sorry, Scott, let me just
Yeah.
go back. Because one of the questions is related to this.
So
My
look-
understanding was that the last meeting, Tony, you said none of the major capital projects
Yep.
would directly impact the 27.
It would not, because when you go out to borrow, your first principal interest payment's not due for 6 months. And then it's due, first principal payment is due in a year. So, well, if we were to go out to borrow, we wouldn't borrow until January of next year, specifically. So the first interest payment's not due till July.
Right,
That's why it's not in the budget.
right. So,
You could still move forward with the projects, you can still get the authorization.
Right.
But by the time you get the authorization, you get the thing approved, you start the project, you need the cash flow, all that stuff, though, you get mobilized, it's probably not gonna be till next year anyway. And then, so
Correct.
we'll borrow it so that it doesn't impact the
right,
budget.
so are we,
That's what I guess I'm saying.
but we're approving tonight these projects.
No,
right?
all they are in this budget, if it's a bonded amount, it's just a forecast, it's just a,
Placeholder.
a placeholder,
Yeah.
Okay,
it's got no approval connected to it whatsoever. It's just, the idea is to put all of your anticipated capital needs in one place so you can see them all on the easy schedule. But the bonded projects have a
Right.
separate approval process through the town. So
Okay.
by putting them in here, you're just identifying them as a possible project.
So they're not in the budget, they are potential future projects,
Right,
basically. It's like a
correct.
short list.
But we're
for
not
these didn't
approving
make the
them.
cut.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
by keeping them in here, you're saying, yes, we think this is a project
Yeah.
that we have to consider.
like the
Because you're
school
keeping
or
it in
the
here.
police.
Yeah, I
Right,
mean-
Right.
but it's not an approval, it's not like anything legal where you're approving something.
I mean, it
tonight.
seems to me, right, sorry, Tony, it seems
Yeah.
to me that there's two things. One of which is on the capital, there is 2027 approved Board of Selectmen. Those are capital projects that are going to be done this year and are on our budget for 26, 27.
All the ones that are bolded, those are the ones that are current dollars,
That are coming out of.
out of the
general
tax
fund.
rate.
Tony,
Correct.
is another way to look at this, I have a tendency to look at it just slightly different in the sense of the bonded projects are not projects that we're going to collect taxes for during '27.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay, so and that's, when we talk about the budget, it's what are we going to collect taxes for?
But you're also they're not projects you're necessarily gonna collect taxes for at all.
Right, even in the future.
Because
But
they're not approved yet.
they're not included in the dollars report.
It's simply a financial
No,
forecast, a short list.
Right, I know that they're not,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But with this plan, which is to move necessary maintenance that we know needs to happen in fiscal '27, that's been my understanding all along, right? Like roofs have to happen, HVAC has to happen, paving has to happen, right? And so what we're saying is we're not approving any of it, even though it
Well,
might
I
happen.
think, and I think that's exactly right. We are not approving it, and I'll just point out that I'm hoping the charter revision will clear this up, because my understanding is that the Board of Finance doesn't approve any of these major capital projects. What we do is make a recommendation to the town meeting or the referendum on these big things. So our impact, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mika and Tony, I understand, let's just say the school, for example. If the school is gonna go to referendum in the fall, we will say, we, the Board of Finance, say there will be a referendum on the school project for this amount of money on this, and here is our recommendation. We approve it, we disapprove it,
Or you can modify it.
or modify it. That's the role of the Board of Finance, not,
But
we-
it's advisory only.
right. So
Right.
that's the reading in the charters, that all we can do is say, we've discussed this, we think this is a great idea, we discussed this, we think it's way too much money, whatever. But I do take your point. I would like to spend some time working on what is currently called the capital improvement 6-year plan. I think, Tony, your word is better. It's a forecast. And I think we should make sure that it adequately reflects it. So what I want us to do this budget cycle is to, one, take a look at what the Beecher Building Committee has said is going to be the total cost of the project, which I think now is 210. For, with the addition of the 6 pre-K classes,
How much?
210 million.
200?
What's that?
I mean, sorry, 110 million. Sorry, 110
All right.
I was
million.
just sitting and saying, what?
Yeah, sorry,
that.
changed
sorry,
overnight.
that's my mistake. No, 110.
Two schools.
God knows what's in here.
I didn't
So-
know.
That's why we're buying the defibrillators.
That's why I keep saying it's 2029, I
Right.
don't know. So 110 million or something, that's what should be reflected on
Right.
this thing, with a asterisk saying it
That,
should
the
be
grant.
offset.
Yeah, we could do that. I think that's good.
I think we need to do that. I
Yep.
think we need to put on this, the police department,
It's in
whatever that
That
rough
is in here,
estimate-
I
That's in
think.
here.
But is it a good estimate? Because we have 50 million for the school, which is not.
It
Right.
could be a little low, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. Let's put it
We-
at the correct number.
Police is the facility improvements, is that what you're talking about? It's
Yeah,
at five, it's
and
at
the
5
HVAC.
million, I think that's low.
I think that's,
So-
I want to put these all up to what is our best, I don't want to say guesstimate, it's more than a guesstimate, but our best numbers going forward. Because I think this is all what has to be considered.
Are you suggesting gross or net of reimbursement? Gross?
Gross, because we have no idea what the net is
The
going to be.
reimbursement's gonna be.
Well, that's what will have to go to referendum, right?
The gross
That's my
goes to
understanding.
The gross goes to referendum.
Right.
Yeah.
For all of this.
So,
With an indication of the anticipated grant amounts, yes.
You know, it's funny, as you kick this thing around, I mentioned to Tony, I said, you were doing why aren't we projecting revenues as well? If we're thinking the grant list is gonna grow, I mean, or is
Because
it,
we can't.
I guess in the capital budget, we have revenue, we don't project revenue, I guess.
No.
Doesn't matter. I just thought it would be,
I think it's
good
important
visual.
I think it's important to understand what the potentials are as far as growth initiatives are concerned. I agree with you.
I mean, that has to be the discussion, but I don't think it gets reflected in.
Not in
what
this
we do.
document.
No, not here.
Not in our document.
Scott, to your point, I think it's a matter of semantics. You say, are we approving it? It's like, the approval is probably not the word I would use
Okay.
in terms of that. It's,
So-
you're acknowledging and accepting and in some cases recommending.
right.
But it's, when it comes to those types of numbers, but it's not like you're approving it. And the $130,000 we're talking about is in the dollars associated with this year's capital budget.
Correct.
For 27 capital budget. What we're suggesting is that.
The 130
For the water
For
incursion.
the water incursion.
Okay.
Water incursion,
Town
yeah.
clerk's office.
And we've already.
Oh, I'm sorry, I see
Yeah.
town hall and I see library.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
So there's-
library,
library is in, the town hall was part of the bonding.
correct. No, other way
No,
around.
Other way around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which one are we,
The town hall one is the one that's in the tax rate that they're discussing
Correct.
removing.
And we've
And
already.
that's the way I look at it, Tony.
okay,
The $130,000 is impacting our overall budget. That will impact on what taxes we put forth to our residents. And what the suggestion is that we take that out,
okay,
and we understand it is in the intention from a Board of Selectmen standpoint. I intend to at least bring forward the potential for the sale of these properties. Okay, so if the sale of those properties occur, to leverage those dollars specifically for those types of, that specific capital need, for example.
okay.
And that's, so we're taking it out for this year, making sure that it is still there for next year. Should we not sell any properties, it would still be looked to get done.
It would be an expense next year.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So.
So
and
we
that
lower
will-
the tax burden by 130,000
Right.
because we have identified or have been told that that's something we could defer.
Yeah.
As soon as, if or as soon as the property is sold, we will then have extra revenue that we would then, I'm assuming we'd have to wait till next year to do it.
Right.
Or you can do it, not necessarily, you can do it, but you can, if you're going to a town meeting to sell the properties, right?
You have to.
You have to, right, yeah. So at that same town meeting, you can also do a request to use the funds
good.
for
Right.
X, Y, or Z.
So if in fact in 26, 27, at a town meeting, it approves the sale of those properties, at the same town meeting, we would then approve spending the capital
For whatever you want to spend it
we-
on.
At that point, we
Yeah.
have.
Okay. On
So-
at one time.
Is there anything else in the capital expenditures for the next budget year?
I mean,
Again, just trying to lower that number somewhat. Is there anything else that could be deferred?
I was looking at, radio communication upgrades, can that be?
No, that's a lease.
That's
Can't
a
do that.
lease?
The
So-
only- There's a police vehicle that needs to be replaced.
I
But
don't want
that's-
to touch
that's-
that.
No, I wouldn't do that
I don't want to
That's-
touch that.
I agree, but you asked the question, so,
Yeah. So why don't we just adjust the budget for the 130 and see where we are, Tony?
So the bonding on the, just so I understand the process, right?
Sure.
On the close-in, right? Specifically, the paving of the roads is a thing that's on my head.
Okay.
So what would be the process to get our roads paved? So the bonding, who would make the decision, Tony, and like how?
So you would, if, usually, as was indicated, usually we pay for roads because we pave it roughly the same amount each year.
Right.
So we pay for it out of cash because you shouldn't be borrowing for something that you do every year.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
But we're,
So here,
yeah,
it's $1 million in bonding. If you wanted to go that route this one time, what you'd have to do is get a resolution approved by the town, similar to any other project.
okay.
And then, once you did that, then we would just borrow the money. We would borrow for 10 years, not 20, because the life cycle of a road is,
So just Amy's
Okay.
question.
as Amy said, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
that's correct.
And I will just point out, because I'm going to ask Mika, that the member at the last meeting, Mika said he was going to go out and look for, because we said, perhaps we have neglected the roads more than we think.
Right.
And other towns had done that, and they bonded because they didn't do anything. So Mika was going to go out and look at, some digital.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Last one.
what we're looking for actually is data to support what's needed,
Yeah.
truly what's needed, and so we can assess what dollars are required to really bring us up to speed. We did speak with the vendor that I mentioned to you folks last meeting, and it's a great presentation. The technology is great. It doesn't take a long time to conclude what's required. It could be done this spring, probably not in time for our preliminary budget meeting or our town meeting. And it comes at a cost of somewhere between $17,000 and $20,000 for the technology and the portal that's required, which is really the most valuable tool, is what you can do with the information that's collected. It not only collects data with regard to the paving, but it also collects data regards to things on the road. For example, line painting. Which ones are faded and which ones are not, which ones don't, which ones are, it's signs, if there are signs that are damaged, fire hydrants, things of that nature. There's a lot you can do with it. Subsequently, we went to, I had a meeting with SCROG, who has an initiative with that technology, and identified that they're beginning a program that we had asked to be a part of, and they have accepted us as a part of, that does the same thing for no charge.
I think we should go with the 17,000.
I think Bethany's doing something similar to this.
They are
I
one
found out
of the, they are one of
today.
the
Yeah.
towns that are, I think,
Yeah.
I'm almost certain that they're one of the towns that are
Yeah.
included in this, and there's not many towns.
Didn't they bond
But-
recently for a
So
lot of
what
their
some
roads?
towns do
Bethany,
is,
I don't know.
they
a few
did,
years ago, right?
they did, yeah.
I remember
And,
that.
because they hadn't paved in years.
Right, Paula came in, I think it was
So-
one of her,
What some towns will do is save the money short term, not pave for a while. Orange
Yep.
did this too.
Right.
And then borrow a whole bunch and pave a whole bunch at once. It's,
The,
yeah.
from my perspective, it's, Warren has, our retired Public Works Director has every year said that the money we're using isn't enough. Even at full amount that we budget, that we
Right.
normally do, isn't enough. So we are always behind, we're never really truly catching up. So the hope is that we can leverage the technology in such a way as to identify very specifically what we require. What is, where are we really? And if we need to catch up, we can. Now, keeping in mind for this year, from a paving perspective, it doesn't mean we won't do any paving at all. We have $352,000 in there to do anything that might be, especially after this hard winter, that might be absolutely essential. Is that a lot? No. We're upwards of 700,000, Tony? if I'm
Yeah,
not
but
mistaken?
usually 750,000.
So, but then, by the time next year rolls around, we will very much, hopefully I'm hoping by the end of April, end of May, we'll know very specifically where we are in terms of what really needs to get done from a town perspective.
I will tell
If we're
you,
going to bond, I'm sorry.
yeah, I just want to mention the 352 is because we get 2 grants from the state that are connected to road paving.
right?
It's town road aid and municipal grants and aid. And if you add those two together, it's 351,673.
And we don't have to match it or anything, that's just.
No,
yeah.
that's just
So-
given to us. So when an order comes in, they want to see support that we actually spent that much money on paving.
And
That's
the
all.
reason, with Warren leaving and emphasizing the situation with the roads, and understanding that that we will in all likelihood be going to some sort of bonding, like Tony said in the beginning of the year, we felt that we should consider this as part of that.
Right.
In the event we really do need to do more than we've calculated or we thought in the past we needed to.
I mean, I would think that we've always allocated, what, 700,000 to 800,000, something
The
like
last
that?
couple of years, we've been cutting it a little.
But we've always, I mean.
But yes.
In an ideal world, this free service is gonna come back and say, you only have to spend 600,000, so we don't have to go to bond, because that's normal. I don't think that's gonna happen, I think it's gonna be
Right.
the other way.
It has
but-
not been a consistent number
Right.
over the last 15 years,
Right.
20
Has
years.
not,
It just
yeah.
has not been a consistent number. So if we've had to cut, that was an area where we did.
We always cut there.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? So I can understand Warren's view that we need to do more than what we think we need to do, and what we're budgeting for.
We get the data. I mean,
So-
the bottom line is we get the data, so.
And that's the
great.
important thing, and I'm excited at the prospect of having that type of information, because it really provides something that you can tangibly go to and understand and work with. And it not only gives you what roads are, it gives you a condition from 1 to 100, a ranking from 1 to 100 on every road. It also gives you estimated costs and what you should be budgeting on an annual basis based on what's on there.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
so
great.
It's kind of amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
It really is, it's very, very useful, so it's something that, we can leverage, or we can use, for the purposes of what we're talking about right now.
Right.
So, and again, the bonding was because we're doing other bonding, and it wouldn't be a cost in and of itself. in
And we
terms
wouldn't
of-
wanna make it a precedent,
cost
and
of
we
the
were
bond.
doing it, the.
We haven't made it a precedent.
No,
It's
we've never
not
done it.
something we want to do. It's in there
Right.
because we may have
Right.
to.
I mean, I just look at, again, the projects, the demo, the clubhouse.
Yes.
Right? probably gonna happen in fiscal '27, right? So, but there's a whole nother process outside of what we're doing tonight in terms of those
And that's
some
all.
hard dollars in the budget
That's
that are gonna come
correct.
from tax dollars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because, and that's in there, Scott, very specifically, because we have to keep in mind that ideally,
Right.
we might be able to get somebody else to pay for that. You know, we might get some help with something like the
Right.
clubhouse demolition.
Right.
But if we don't, we can't leave it like it is. you
Right.
know, So,
So I think a lot of these things, again, just for people listening, is that we are going to go to bonding in, you know, next year. For what and for how much to be determined. And therefore, given that we're doing that, and there's some of these other stuff, that we will ask the town to support some of those other things, but it doesn't impact us.
Okay. So for the purposes of tonight, if it doesn't hit tax dollars,
It will not.
then we really don't.
And the only thing I was
but the
suggesting is
130
us.
does.
The 130
does,
130.
so that's an area
potentially
where we
move
can
that
have an
out,
impact.
right? With the
Yes.
understanding. Okay.
I mean, I think we should do that. I don't know if there's other stuff, but we can look for it. Again,
And-
after the preliminary town meeting to try to, our goal is to get it as low as we can.
Well, the 130 you can do
We're doing tonight.
tonight.
All right, I'll take that out. I'll let you know where we are.
Where are we?
But that's not a known number, so I
It's
guess we
not,
don't want
correct.
to bank on it being 130,
Yeah.
right?
No,
But that's what's in the
That's the
budget.
budget.
In fairness, it could be less,
Where
a
are
lot
we
less.
for
Yeah.
the 2027?
yeah, we
But, and we
can take out
did,
200
we
instead
did a
of
line
100.
item
It doesn't
transfer, right, this year to, or a funding request, whatever, to get an eval on that.
We put money in the budget for that.
So it's
yes.
it's in the budget to at least evaluate what's going on.
Correct.
And it could change everything.
Where are we, Tony?
All right, give me 1 second here.
Drum roll.
I love that you have this live. It's awesome.
And I do have another question that I think needs to be brought up, which is that we're going out, we're looking for a new, let's see if I get it, administrative officer. Did I get the term right? Finally. And we've talked, again, Ramika will correct me, we've talked to a headhunter and given that person a target. My understanding is that may be lower than we
Market.
hope, or it's gonna be coming higher than we would hope. And I wonder whether, I would I'm just throwing this out for consideration, which is, do we raise that, do we put into the budget I don't wanna call it a more realistic, but I can't think of a better word, a more realistic number, or do we say, that's what we've asked for, can we put some more money in contingency, you know, on the
If the
likely-
administrative officer costs more.
Right, we can't hire one
So-
for what we've asked for.
Right. I mean, there's a whole. This is part of the reorg, right? Is how this is all worked in, and there's a grant that comes
The,
into play. And my understanding is everything with the reorg is neutral to the budget.
Would be with the numbers we had calculated.
Right.
The recruiter is saying we're probably $20 to $30 short of where we need to be.
Based on market.
Okay.
So I don't want to get too far into it because we're going out there, we don't, but anyway.
Right.
But it's, so we may want to look at budgeting additional dollars, maybe through
Maybe,
contingency.
I'm
I
just
would
gonna
say,
ask,
my
We've made it-
suggestion is contingency.
That's what we were, yeah, exactly. The thought is,
I wouldn't
Yeah.
budget for that.
I agree.
Because
Should we add
anybody who's
contin-
gonna look
Should we add now
I
to
agree.
is gonna see how much you
contingency?
have to budget for.
there,
we add now or
particularly at
wait?
this point, I'm sorry, Beth?
We should wait.
Yeah.
We should wait, not add to contingency, just assume we will take it out of the current budgeted contingency.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying, Tony.
That's what I would
Okay,
do.
okay.
I mean, historically, the contingency's at 300,000. We were historically for many years at 200,000,
Right,
before the whole police
Yeah.
contract issue.
yeah.
but we brought it back up to, well, the Board of Selectmen brought it back up to 300,000 because of,
The number of challenges that we've had.
We knew we were gonna have.
no, there was something specific, I know what it was. It was the police department air conditioning.
Oh, yes.
That you pulled it from the capital, you had 100 and something in capital.
Right.
And they said, well, maybe it won't break and we will do it, we'll fix it during the renovation.
Right.
So let's pull it out of capital and put it into contingency, just in case it does break. That's why, I think that's how it got back to 300. right?
There were some other things
Believe you.
as well. I don't remember all of them, but yes.
Where are we, Tony?
Okay, so the expenditure's 1.81%. The taxes, amount to be raised by taxes, 4.79%. And the mill rate, 4.14%.
Another recommendation I was gonna mention, Tony, I think you taught me off the ledge here, was instead of having a full-time
Just don't want to tell you,
public works person, we'll go to a part-timer.
I just want to,
But you said maybe they're, may have uncut trees.
for 75,000, I always like to throw this out there. So if you're at another $75,000 and the mill rate is below 4%.
However,
So I just thought I'd mention that.
my sense is there may be some upticks that need to be considered.
Legal?
Legal is one of them.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
economic development person is another.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the economic development director is one thing I think we need to go back and look at. In terms of the cost of the actual cost of the community center, right? Like, what is that? And we're making choices not to do certain things, right? In the budget process. So, there's the economic development director, which I think strategically we need to do, right? I think we would want to take, like, what is the actual cost of the community center? There's a $28,000 line item,
Yep, I'll tell you in
Right.
1 second.
but I know we're going to put headcount against that, right? And then there's other
So
funding for maintenance.
The community center is,
It's 28.
yep, I'm gonna give you that 1 second. It is 15,000 for electricity, 12,000 for natural gas,
Mm-hmm.
2,500.
$800 for security, $400 for water.
Right.
That's it. That's the 28,000.
And isn't there janitorial that lives
It's in
somewhere
the
else?
yeah, it's in the maintenance budget.
Okay. And then from a staffing standpoint,
There's
what are we dedicating to it?
that's part of the reorg.
Right.
But there's no,
There's no like line to cut there.
that's,
We're
It's
that's
revenue
what-
neutral. It's the
that's
revenue
become-
neutral
that-
reorg that takes care of it.
Right.
that becomes part of a responsibility of an existing resource.
Okay.
It doesn't become, it's not a sole responsibility, but rather it's a part of what a resource would be doing.
Right. So in my brain, sorry, I'm
No,
trying
that's
to
good.
follow it all.
You're good.
Right. So we have somebody that now is taking half, a quarter, a third, whatever of their time and dedicating it to this. So what about what they were doing with that time?
This is a new position.
It's a new position. Okay.
What we're doing is as part of the reorg is we're creating a position that encompasses communications and programming townwide, particularly communications, which includes website, all the work we need to do on website, all the work we need to do from a technology
Right.
upgrade in terms of our communications with our public. In other words, however we touch the public in doing different things along those lines, along with assisting and coordinating and developing community programs.
Right.
So the events we have, what would be done from a community center perspective is developing specific programs so that the building itself is being used.
Okay.
So, whether they're programs for kids to come in and use a facility for whatever purposes there might be, whether it's a welcoming center for new town residents who move into town and we get together on a regular basis, whether it's potluck dinners for residents as a third space for meeting and communicating with other residents, those types of things, just that individual, that would be part of their job, along with doing it for whether it's the town green or other spaces that we have here, that there might be other events that take place. Most importantly, from my perspective, this individual would be the communications for the town, which has been lacking significantly. And, you know, the survey we just did supports the fact that that's the case, as well as comments and input from residents for quite some time. And
Right.
it's just an area that we struggle with right now, you know, in terms of trying to get that done because of other things that need to get done.
Right.
So that new position is short of what we talked about as far as the admin officer is concerned. This new position would be included and would not impact on what we've so far put in the budget for the selectmen's budget.
Right, and I guess not seeing the numbers and how it's all covered, right? Still going back to the person who's doing something, right? We're creating a position that,
Not
Some-
for the community center, Scott.
okay,
It's not being
but it'd
community.
be part of their responsibility.
It would be part of their
Right.
responsibility, correct.
So again, you're gonna have to correct me, I'm trying to remember what
Yes.
you showed. So the reorg is creating a new administrative assistant.
Call it the community coordinator.
No, I mean, I'm saying, you're gonna end
No,
up with.
No,
you-
it does,
you-
there is no new assistant. It's changed completely from what, not completely, but it's changed from what you may have seen, one of the iterations.
Oh,
you
so
may
one of
have
the
seen
iterations have changed,
What it
okay.
really comes down to is we maintain what we have right now. We split the admin officer, finance director position into,
Right.
instead of it being one position, it becomes 1.5 positions.
Mhm.
Okay, so it becomes 2 individuals. And we add a community coordinator. Maintain the executive assistant, maintain the assistant administrative assistant, maintain the accounts payable, benefits, and maintain the accounts yeah,
payable.
accounts
Yeah.
payable.
So what's going out to fund it? If we're adding the events role,
So,
It's not the event, it's communication.
I'm sorry, communications.
Yeah. But what do you mean what's going out?
So if it's neutral, right, then something,
You're creating at least a part-time,
right,
Well,
we're adding that role,
which
right?
role? The communications role,
Communications person.
correct.
So if the whole thing is neutral, then something is going,
What's happening is we're reducing, obviously, the amount we pay for our finance director
right?
and going half.
not only am I going half, but then that's also being paid by a grant.
So that's what's making this happen,
That's
right?
what's
It's
making
the
it
grant.
happen,
So
correct.
we're, okay. So that's how it all works.
Right.
It does.
Okay.
It's
But
For 3
even when the
years.
grant is,
3 years.
is out,
Right.
what we're thinking is one of the things we recognize, I think everyone recognizes we need to do,
Mhm.
considering the circumstances, is we need to separate the admin officer. And we still do need.
Oh, yeah, I
but
don't
this is an important
disagree.
point, But this is an important point, and we need to obviously maintain a finance director.
Mhm.
So if we were to just do that today, just that, it would exceed the budget that we currently have. It would
Right.
exceed the budget that we're presenting for next year, if that's all we did. We didn't have a new position. But what we're looking at is, by doing it the way we're doing it, we're looking at not exceeding the budget and incorporating a new position
Right, through the grant.
through the grant.
Right.
Well, through the grant helps us in terms of doing that.
It helps us make that happen, right, in the short run
Correct.
for the next few years.
Correct.
And a portion of that grant then de facto is going to help provide resource to promote the community center. Right? Like,
Well, the grant is for my position.
it's right.
But
That's
because
that's
it
what we're
pays
writing
for my
it for.
position.
It frees up.
It frees up
and
some
it's, that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
Yeah. Right.
In an end around way.
Correct, that's correct.
Right. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just trying when we make choices on community center, and I get we're able to get the water incursion off. Okay. I sat in a 4-hour police commission meeting this week. I wasn't there for all 4 hours. There was a lot of executive session, but I hung out because I really wanted to see it all the way through. And I have to tell you, and this goes back to when they were in presenting. Okay, I think we're really exposed there.
Exposing what way?
Staffing. Sorry, should have been clear.
In the police.
Right. So we're downsizing headcount for. When I looked at the thing, it was only like $69,000
Correct,
or
yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
plus benefits.
Plus benefits.
Plus
That's close to
benefits.
$200,000.
It was
Be
about 100
Yeah, about 100.
in
yeah.
total with all the benefits
Yeah.
when you roll it up.
Yep.
So when I look at community center, right, we have uncovered savings tonight in health insurance, right? We got a little relief from Amity, right? It's hard for me to understand why we wouldn't staff our police department to the point where, I mean, the data point that when he presented that stuck out at me was the 30% number. Okay, that 30% of the time we have 2 officers on duty. And
There-
I'm just, this is my own thing, and I'll stop, but I struggle with that.
I appreciate it. There was a comment made today in terms of public comment in regards to what we spend per capita.
Yeah.
If you look at areas of the town that we spend in, the example that was given was specifically town clerk. And you can pick out any of the departments and take a look at it and compare it in that way. But if you compare it from a police services standpoint, in terms of what we're spending from a police services standpoint, I think that you'll see the most dramatic difference. So I get it. I understand what you're saying. This is not something we wanted necessarily to have to do. We haven't had 3 officers for the better part of 3 years. We've been down 3 officers.
No, I know, and we're paying the overtime for that.
And yes, we are.
Like $200,000 a year in
Yes, we
overtime.
are.
Yep.
And there
Right,
have been- and
beyond
I've-
their budget.
Having been on the police commission, I can tell you the overtime does not always correlate to the amount of staff that you have.
Right.
It's really in terms of how it's managed, et cetera, but it doesn't always correlate. So it's not as if we're paying for a person because, bringing a new person in eliminates the proportionate amount of overtime. In every instance, and this is looking at it over the course of
Right. So
significant
the
number of
savings,
years.
I was thinking about the savings may not be there in overtime because it's in one bucket out the other.
We
right?
are,
Like-
we have reduced part-time help in recreation. We were looking to do the same at the library. They've identified a different way that they can do that.
Right.
We are laying people, in a sense, people who were working here will not be working here.
Right.
And from my perspective, the way that I look at it is, knowing that you have a vacancy, somebody who's not working here yet, and others who are working here not being able to work here because of our budget reductions,
Right.
it didn't seem as if that was a prudent decision for us to move
Yeah.
forward with. And yes, I get it.
So other people are being laid off.
Well,
and-
Not necessarily laid
Well,
off.
reduced,
they're
right?
part-time. We've reduced the number of individuals who
And
are
the
working for
hours
the town.
and the
Or
library
some
and everything
retirement, or
else,
some
right?
retirement.
Bottom
So-
line is, and I've sat here and I've said it, and I know Tony has said it, and we've said it for the last 2 years, we're at a point where the only way to control our expenses is through for reductions in programs and people. We have an opportunity through this reorg to actually increase the potential for programming for people, for our
Right.
residents. We have an opportunity through the community center to actually provide more for our community than we are, although we're struggling and we're working hard to continue to reduce our expenses. And we're able to do that but without a significant increase in terms of the expense associated with it.
Right.
So it's a combination of a resource to operate it and the facility itself, to increase the amount of services we can provide our residents. To me, it's a no-brainer. To me, it's an absolute essential thing to do because we don't get that opportunity very often.
Right.
And
And the cost is everything we just talked about. right?
correct.
I mean,
Correct.
the reason that this jumped out at me, and then I will shut up.
Yes.
that's fine.
No, it's great.
is
We need to have
being,
this discussion.
being
It's
a
great
small
discussion.
being a small business owner, right? And
Yep.
I hear the scheduling. Okay,
Yeah.
who works when? This person's on leave. This person, right? Like, I operate my businesses with a rule that nobody works alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I will not run a store alone because it's a risk.
Yep.
Right. And to me, staffing where 30% of the time they're not alone, there's only 2 of them,
Yeah.
is a risk.
Yeah.
And I think it's something we need to take
And-
seriously. I
right.
know it's not cheap,
I agree with you.
but we've uncovered between our last meeting and now, we've uncovered a lot of money.
So,
So,
I guess,
and I feel like we're
One
we're
comment
trying
I'll
to.
make, just additionally, I have people coming into my office and saying to me, Scott, how come we spend $3.5 million on police service and Bethany spends zero? And we also have to respond to
Well,
that.
that too is a choice.
You know what I mean? It is a
Right.
choice,
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's so, it's like,
It's been, I think it's been a thing for a while, and I think we have a good police force, and I'm not saying anything
Yeah.
against
We
it,
have
but
a
if you
great
look at the
police
number
force.
of police that we have in our town versus, and again, it's not apples to apples, but they have, I think they pay a little bit for, I don't think it's zero, because they have state trooper happen to be stationed up there.
Right.
But, and I don't know how many, everybody says, look how many
Yeah.
police officers we have. I don't know how many police officers Orange has, and again, it's not comparable. I look at it from the perspective of, and I agree, I don't like the concept, but personally, I'm looking at this going, I think we need that part-time economic development director.
We did.
And we're gonna have to add that in, and so if it's a choice between not filling a spot in the
Yeah.
police department and filling a part-time economic development.
Well, I don't know that that's the choice, Tom.
I don't know either. I'm just
That's sort of where I am. I don't know that that's the choice.
And I agree, and I think that's
Yeah.
something, I'm glad we're having this conversation. I do think it's important to address some of the public comment, just given that we're here. I'm not sure that looking at the number of hours in town clerk is a fair number, because one thing that came out to me is that we have 1 full-time and 3 part-time. We don't pay benefits on part-time. So if we went to two full-time that Orange has, what is the actual cost gonna be? How much, I think it's a fair question to say, do we, as the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen, they're doing a great job down there. They're open, many, many hours.
yeah.
Do we want to, is that a place that we want to shave off, some of the stuff? Is
Right.
that where we want to find savings by closing the library one night? Thankfully, he figured out a way around it. Do we want to say to the town clerk, sorry, you can't be open, 5 days a week? I don't think we necessarily want to do it. I think we have to have a conversation. I would like to get it as low as possible, but I don't want to add unless I have a really clear benefit ratio, I guess is the
Right.
question. And by the way, I'm totally worried about the big capital expenditures when it comes time for that.
And
so.
and I think benchmarking is
Important.
important, right? And you can get into the details,
Yeah.
right? And I think if you go back over time, this town has held, when you take the schools out, right, the increases in the last 10 years are under 2%.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So I
Our
don't think
town
it's
departments have done remarkably
right.
well.
Yeah.
But I think some of that is the debt that we're going to be looking at, right? The capital expenditures, we're going to pay for that, right? But I think in terms of the increases, but it's the base that we're increasing off of every year. Have we really dug into
I
from
think
a
it's a fair
benchmarking
question.
standpoint? And do you judge police per capita, right? Or do you need to look at all these towns are not necessarily comparable, given what comes their way,
I agree.
right?
I totally
and
agree.
I don't know that you can take Burlington and Woodbridge and do this.
Certainly not for the police department.
Right. Right.
Absolutely not.
I know it's easy to increase our expenses, but I think about it from how do we support these expenses when we need revenue, right? And from our conversations, Tony, you had mentioned that, and I did some research on my own, and I noticed Milford and a couple other towns have installed speeding cameras, and
Right. Oh,
and
God.
based on your experience from a small town, they've made. I mean, I don't want to be a police town, but that's the last thing I want to do. But the data is what is it, 200,000? What's your experience?
Just the other town I do some work for, put a speed camera in, and in 9 months, this is net after you pay pay the operators, it's about 250,000.
That's in 9 months. And I did some further research, and I guess monies from those cameras has to go to police. So maybe, not saying we're making a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen to think about it, but I mean, if they could pay for themselves if,
We've brought it to their police,
If it-
we've brought it to
brought it
their
to the
attention.
police? Okay.
We've brought it to their
This is
attention.
after
And they've
you
been working.
paid for the police.
not that I wanted to.
No,
I
no,
don't
we've
want
been,
to
we've
happen
been
to that
looking
guy.
at potential,
Yeah.
for using technology for traffic control. For a bit, because there's a lot that goes into it in terms of you have to get permission from the state, there's a lot more, but it is something that our police chief has been looking at most recently. We just, with Tony's information, we just kind of,
That's just one example.
reiterated,
I don't want you to set
Orange,
expectations.
Connecticut just went out to RFP for.
And it seems to be a hot thing. I mean, they're talking about putting it on the highways, they're talking about putting it everywhere. I would say it's worth looking at, but I also know that in the past that there were some interesting little, because it's a third party and they tweak it
And it's also a privacy thing and for a lot of people.
it's a
in
lot of
terms
stuff that has to
so-
be discussed,
That's right, that's right.
not by us, hopefully.
So, very kind, so, sounds to me like, so we're at 1.81, and I think Mika said you wanted to add a little bit of legal, and what's the budget for that economic, development person?
25.
25?
That was a budget that I used,
It's not
that
in
was
your-
just,
okay.
and when the 25 number that I used in my original org chart to you folks, and that summary that we used, was very specifically a shared resource, like a contracted resource. If you're looking at hiring a part-time person, it's closer to the amount that was raised today in terms of the 50,000, is from my perspective, if that's the kind of thing you're looking for. My sense is just, I'm pointing out to you areas of concern. When we looked at the legal numbers, it's an area of concern.
I would agree.
We could do,
The other area of concern you should at least be aware of is I got an answer to your question. I don't know if you saw it about the building permits.
Oh, because they're adding a layer of,
They're adding some, they added some estimated building
Completion.
revenue for the Fountain Street project.
I'm
So
worried,
if you
I'm
don't
worried
think-
about that as revenue
If you don't
for
think
next
that,
year.
if you don't think that's gonna happen in the next year, then that's an
Say
exposure
that
to having
again?
building permits. The building department added,
they added what they
Oh, that
anticipated for
memo
that.
that came
Correct.
Do you know how much they did?
Right.
250 or something, wasn't it?
no, it's, tell you in 1 second.
That's not in your budget, no, it's not in your number,
It's in the
About
revenue
50,000,
it's in your revenue number?
yeah,
Okay.
it's about
And I
50,000.
have a question on that, because I mean, given that there's outstanding legal issues, the likelihood of we're getting that 50,000, whatever the number is, 50,000 in the next budget year seems to be
right?
Right.
non-existent.
Just depends on the legal process. I don't know how long it takes for the appeals, so it's very difficult to say. You're really talking about 17, 18 months.
So that would be, we'd miss next year.
Yeah, I think we're gonna
So
miss
I'm
next
saying
year.
if it takes that long.
Oh, if it takes that long,
If it
yeah.
takes a year, then
Yeah.
you're not missing.
Right,
You're
well,
not
still,
missing.
even if it takes a year, by the time they start,
Start.
you
I
only have
understand.
2 months,
It
you're not
won't
gonna
be
get much.
27.
Yeah.
I just don't think it will be. I mean, I was gonna bring that up. Not being a lawyer.
I didn't realize that was in there. I knew we added the certificate of
Then we, on
completion.
top of that, put the 30 for the,
Right.
yeah. If you look at the revenue, it goes from 540 to 598. That's, but that difference is like, actually 58,000.
I think we have to take that out. Unfortunately, we just keep, instead of going down tonight, we're going up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that.
Are there other departments that we can ask to go back and see if they have any other areas where they think that they can cut, similar to what the library did for us?
Remember, we asked them all to come in at close to zero, and most of them did a really good job, so I don't
Yeah.
know that,
I know.
I don't know, Tony, you think there's any room in any of these
As
departments?
Mika said, you're at programs and people.
Yeah.
So if people are gonna do that, then they'll have to cut some programming or,
What are we doing with the Public Works Director? What's the status of that for the next budget cycle?
it's in, as, you know.
As
As
a
a
full-time.
full-time?
Full-time,
It
yeah.
is in as a full-time. Is it something that we'll consider? Yeah, but we don't want to budget for it if it turns out that we really need it.
And
Okay.
I
You know,
just want to highlight that in the past 15 years, we've eliminated a parks director and a mechanic. So,
Yeah, we've eliminated a lot of spots.
so even though maybe at one point it might not have seemed, like a full-time public works director. We've eliminated 2 positions since then, including a like a supervisory position. I just wanted to mention that. So, you know, you are supervising
More people.
15 people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
So
touch it.
it's not an easy
I
thing
would
to.
not again, I just wanted to
I mean, you
have
could
us
do
have
it,
a
but
discussion about it, because I think it was a fair question, and I think
There's
that's
a
a
lot
fair
to-
answer, that said, leave it as full-time.
Well, yeah, there's a lot to consider. It's a little too early to say we can do that
Yeah.
specifically.
Coordinating all the weather events alone is a real big deal, I think, for the Public Works Department.
It's not an
And
area- I
also
mean,
emergencies that happen that they have
It's
to
not an area I
respond to.
would like to see.
No,
cut.
no. Maybe, but
Don, you want to adjust for the economic director and the legal buffer? Maybe you could add it to your contingency,
Yeah, do you have an amount you want me to put in?
50,
I'm sorry, for what?
legal retainer.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a
You're good.
reason to put it in contingency rather than in legal? Just
No,
'cause it
that
gives
one,
it-
I think,
Gives you a little
Yep.
fluidity, I guess.
Go ahead, Tony.
Gives you that-
I mean, the contingency does give you flexibility, but at the same time, it adds a layer of process where you gotta like transfer the funds.
It seems to me if we have I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if we have excess in the legal area, we can transfer it out of that to
You could.
something else.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
opposed to adding that complexity.
It'd just be nice to, reflect the
Yeah.
current state of things,
Agreed.
right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't wanna hide things.
And we have tight control over that, so it's not like it would get spent without.
So what would you suggest we add?
Legal.
Specifically the legal?
50,000, you said? Is that what you want to put in?
Yeah, it's unknown, we don't know, but I think that's a good number.
How much of the current expenses relate to, reval related?
I'll tell you right now, I have that.
Okay. Since those, I expect wouldn't really be recurring.
But we have other
Yeah.
issues
I
going
know,
on.
I'm sure it's,
By the way, as you're looking up, I do think the idea of having been on the Board of Ed and per pupil spending, it was a huge problematic area that, it didn't mean anything. So I'm a little, I'm intrigued by the notion of looking at per capita expenditure, but I'm also mindful of how that is a minefield of what does that really mean and how do you really figure it out and what does that entail? And we are pretty lean, so, it gets back down to, are we really gonna cut people and services?
This is from a Board of Ed standpoint?
On the
or-
Board of Ed, when I was on the Board of Ed, we always got pushback that we were spending too much per pupil. And to actually try to figure out
Yeah.
comparisons of per pupil, I mean, like, there were some school districts who, for example, who custodial was in the town, so of course their per pupil expenditure in the Board of Ed would be lower, or transportation was in the town thing, so it's very hard to
yeah.
compare apples to apples. I think it's a worthwhile, I applaud that concept of, as a worthwhile exercise for us going forward. But I'm not sure that, without digging really deeply into it.
There's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, it sure is.
To,
I'd say there's about, so far, through March, there's about $45,000 in tax related. Of that 45, there's maybe 15 or so that are
Okay.
foreclosures
Yeah.
that we may usually have every year.
That's normal.
Yeah,
like-
normal, yeah.
Yep.
So that's what, like 30,000? That's related to the, and then maybe a little more, some more expenses as we go forward in the next few months. But this is through March, it's about 30,000.
But how much are we spending for all of our various, legal, the lawsuits and things and
How much have we spent or how much are,
how much are we anticipating? I mean, I'm just trying to, I agree with Christina that if we say that 25,000 was related to appeals, we can cut that off.
But there
if
might
we
be
think
other
that
things,
if
yeah.
the other stuff is,
So we-
I don't know what a good figure is.
We have $86,000.
We don't know.
in the budget for this year, we're probably gonna spend around 136, say 140, right? If you take off 30, that gives you 110, and we put in the budget 93.
So
It's
is,
like a $17,000.
so is
difference.
25 additional to
So
that
25 is
line?
probably
A
a
reasonable rather than
reasonable
50?
beginning, yeah.
I mean, I gotta go with your guys' gut on that one, because we don't know what's happening out there. So Tony, is that a good number that we just?
I think that's a good
25?
place to start, yes.
Okay. Do we agree with that?
Yeah.
Mika, are you comfortable with that?
It's a start.
Retention
Tony, is there-
agreement?
The investment income, I know we talked about this like 2 months ago, probably.
Mm-hmm.
What drove the drop off this year, and then we're taking it down another $100,000?
So I've seen, because our rates have gone, our rates that we invest in have gone down about, 50 to 100 basis points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just, because we were, being a little aggressive on some of these revenues, I wasn't so aggressive on on the interest income.
Okay.
I mean, listen, could the market go up? Sure.
Right. I mean, I know we have transfer fees, and we're kind of betting on the high side a
Right,
little bit. So
right,
you
and
wanna
the
balance
building
it.
permits were a little on the high side,
Yeah.
and so I was like, well, I don't want to do that on everything.
Correct.
So,
So I guess
That's
while,
why I didn't do
while we
that one.
come, Tony's making his updates, while we come to a close, I think we had talked about it, maybe, reduction of a position at the transfer station, or closing the transfer station a couple days a week.
We've,
Yeah, I
we've
don't know.
looked at the impact of closing, we looked at 1 day or 2 days, closing, we looked at 1 day, primarily closing the transfer station. It doesn't really bear very much in terms of savings. What it does do is it helps in terms, it could help assist in terms of the resources that are at the transfer station being utilized for other services. So we need less part-time help, for example, during the year, during the summer, for landscaping and things of that, the work, the parks work, that would help. So that's certainly,
Reallocate-
and that's something that can,
reallocate that.
technically we can do that at any time. It's not necessarily, we should certainly look at it from a budget standpoint.
And
And I think, Tony, you have already got increased fees for tipping fees and things of that
Yes.
nature as calculated
you have
in
to
there
act
as
on
well.
them, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
you have to act on them though.
I know we
It's
do
Board of
this,
Selectmen.
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff we do during the budget process, but it would be good if we start looking at some of this stuff a couple years down the line, so we're not making off the seat of our pants decisions, running analytics on 20 towns, and we can't act on
need
any
to
of
start
this
earlier.
now. We
It's
gotta look at this stuff. So based on where we are now, where do we are?
So I took out the 130, and I added the 25,000 for legal, right?
And do we
But we
want to
have
add?
nothing for, we still have nothing for economic
Not
development.
until you tell me how much you want to put in.
At least 25, right?
I would,
25?
I would go 50.
I think 50,
to
like
make
half
sure
a
that
head,
we-
right?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I just think that position is so important.
Sure.
Yeah. So now, with all the additions, we're, what are we at? Expenses, 1.93% increase in operating, and,
Is that with the extra 50?
Yep.
Extra 75.
Tony's
Extra
magic.
75.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't mind, Tony, give us the numbers.
Sure. A 1.93% increase in the budget, a 4.93% increase in taxes, and a 4.14% increase in the mill rates.
Wasn't the last one 4.14?
Yes.
That didn't,
Was it 4.14 in mill rate or taxes? What's the
Mill
tax,
rate.
what's the tax
Give me a
number?
second.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I remember the one, 4.14.
And I'm
you're
only
right,
just,
I
I'm
wrote
going
it
to ask
down.
this because
Yep,
people have
you're
asked
right.
me about this,
Yep.
and I know you have an answer, but, it's, people are saying economic development, they felt was important, we've said it's important, they questioned the town planner, and I've been a proponent of a town planner for as long as I've sat on any board,
Yep.
but I just think
You're right.
it may
It
be
didn't-
reasonable
calculation
to have a
didn't change.
brief discussion
Good catch.
about why we're keeping it in. Or not, I don't know what other people think. I just feel obliged to sort of say something about it, even though I would vote to keep it. Personally, I would vote to keep it, so.
We just had probably the most significant change in housing legislation since the 80s. And
that person's helping.
that's specifically the expertise of the individual who we're hiring. Without that expertise, we have to try to do that on our own.
There's the answer. I mean, I just wanted to give you the chance. to say it.
Just that single
Yeah.
legislation, not to mention many other things. We've also had, for the first time in our history, two applications
Big ones.
for significant structures here in our town. Again, town planning resources, who are the resources that you go to for that. Now, mind you, they're with the new legislation, they've also funded, for example, all the COGs, funded resources for the councils of governments who will have, town planning type resources available, housing expertise available that will help. But to not have it for our own town, we may want to do things that are not consistent with what the
Right.
council of government might want to see us do, and we'd have to justify that, or specifically, if we decide that, we have to justify that in that type of resources, who you would use to do that. So,
I'm only bringing it up because it was a discussion last year, and I just want us to
I understand.
put it out and
Yeah, it was a hot
Say-
topic, I think.
Okay. We've got the number here. So the 62,277,237 is the expenditures. It's 1.93%. The taxes, 4.93%, 57,353,080, and the mill rate 4.29%, 34.02.
sorry, 4 point what?
34.02.
Tony,
What was the mill rate? 4 point,
4.29?
4.29% is the
What's
increase.
the tax increase?
4.93.
I thought we were close to, what was it, 4.14 before?
That
That
That's
was
before you
lower.
added $75,000 for,
But we took out the 130.
4.14 is after the 130.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we added
Before, when we
75.
started the night,
Yeah, that's right,
we were
Better
at,
shape.
You got them all here.
let's see here.
What, 169?
Right.
But we seem to be higher, that's what I'm saying.
4 point, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, we were amount to be raised by tax.
5.32.
5.32.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking
5.32,
at the
I see
wrong,
it now,
the
yeah.
wrong line.
Right, well, that,
So we
yeah,
did go
that's-
down,
Yeah.
we're under 5 in terms of the tax
Correct.
increase.
Yeah.
Got it.
And the mill rate increase of
4.1.
4.1.
4.29.
2.9 now,
4.2.
yes.
Yeah. 4.29, correct.
And with the current grand list, what's the number for reduction to get a mill down? Because it used to be, what, 800? Or 4, I can't remember what it was.
For a full mill?
Yeah, how much money do we have to find to get rid of a mill? Just so-
1,576,442.
The new one, right, 1,000,005 something? So
Yeah.
The grand list is 1.5 billion, so I think 1 mil is,
1.5,
yeah.
Yeah.
which will be hard to find.
Yeah.
As a resident and taxpayer for my entire time that I've looked at this, my concern has always been my greater concern has always been the percentage increase on the amount to raise taxes and on the mill rate increase,
Yeah.
period. So the number that I really focus in on is
The
lowering
4.93.
5.32 down to 4.93.
9.3.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what we can do beyond that.
I mean, I guess short of, currently we have a replacement for the fire chief, and if we determine, I doubt we will, but if we determine that there's a way of not buying a new car and have him have a functioning car, that would be
I
a.
think that's a mistake.
No, I'm saying,
Yeah.
I don't, I mean, we give him the new car unless we can somehow prove that he doesn't need one, and it sounds to me like I'm just trying to look for places, you know.
Right.
We've already pushed some of these vehicles out, because the departments were good about that. Personally, I don't see any easy place to lower it. And I guess we're gonna see at the preliminary town meeting what people will say.
We'll hear about it, one way or another.
Well, we'll hear about it for sure.
Yep.
Should we make a motion?
Okay, so, let me,
Sorry, before we make a motion, did we
You wanna-
concur that we're gonna change those numbers in the capital forecast?
So, yeah, I saw we had 15 million.
right,
That's
Under
not
Beecher?
gonna impact.
You're gonna.
No, but I think we're voting on the whole thing. This is what we're gonna
Well,
well, so
present.
you could certainly vote on that separately if you want, the adjustments to the capital budget,
Okay.
if you want to, just so I have that on the record.
Because
Okay.
they are placeholders.
Yeah.
Right.
To be real. I
If you,
do.
whatever you want to increase them to, just let me know and I can do that.
Okay.
Should we vote on this first and then?
Yeah, and then
okay.
do the
Okay.
final part, yeah.
So we need a motion.
Yeah.
Do you need to read off the numbers or?
Well, so the first is the school. You want to increase the school amount?
Oh, you want to do that first?
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
okay.
I would,
Do that
I
first.
would, I would feel most comfortable increasing the
110?
placeholder for the school to,
110?
I think that, is that the number that they're,
don't
that,
Should we even vote on the placeholder since it's immaterial at this point?
Well, I'd like to get it on the record.
because we
I'm
do
gonna have it-
talk about it at the
Oh.
preliminary town meeting.
Yeah, and it'll be on the
He's
document.
gonna show this at
Okay.
the town.
Yeah, it'll be showed at the town meeting.
well,
Oh, it's
yeah,
funny,
then-
Scott, I guess we're assuming the town's gonna vote for the school, I guess, if we're putting it in the
What
capital.
is that
Well,
number?
I mean,
No,
we're,
no.
first of all,
just-
we put the full
it's
amount
just-
exposure in there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I'm saying. We
I don't
should,
disagree with
should.
that,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
just
I
saying,
agree.
we're voting
We
on this
should. Yeah.
for tonight.
Do we even
This
have
is
an
not
option?
gonna affect
Do we
fiscal
need-
'27.
It does not.
Okay.
Right.
no,
So-
again, the only reason I'm suggesting we update that is because
Yeah.
Tony will present it at the at the preliminary
Yeah,
town meeting.
that's
I will.
And maybe what we say is, because we don't know the number, if you could talk to the building committee and find out what the current number is.
Well, that's the key. I don't know how you can vote on something you don't have information on. You don't have a specific number. The building committee hasn't given us a definitive number.
Right.
Last number we had was 108 million.
Is how
So-
much?
So we can put it at 108 million.
Good.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I'm saying at least the last number they gave is the full number, and with the placeholder of hoping to get
Right.
grants of whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if it's, this goes back to the other conversation about the $7 million and,
Right.
you know, for roads and HVACs and things like that, like, we're not committing to anything. or-
I just want the, and then I'll stop.
Another-
So I
Right,
think
no,
we have
hey,
to vote.
I don't disagree, like,
I'm just wondering what you're voting on, is I guess the question.
What we're saying is I think what we're voting on is for Tony to update the numbers on this.
So specifically, you're voting on this particular one to update the Beecher Road School Building Project amount from 50 million to 108 million.
Which is the
And
last
then
number they gave us.
reflect, an approximate grant amount in the
Yes.
footnote.
so I would second that motion.
So I guess my only,
motion is it?
before,
Me, I
before,
guess.
Thomas.
before we move on,
Is that the only one we're gonna do?
No, we're gonna do
Because
others.
The
Before-
police is the building on.
before
sorry.
we move on, you have it in the 2027 line, do we, but if
You
if
could
we,
certainly move it.
if we're gonna, it's probably
It's probably
another year.
Correct.
So, yeah,
So, yeah, so we changed that as well.
so
So,
we should move that, yeah.
so I guess my motion is
Well,
to,
we're placeholding everything in
Yeah.
the 2027 line, because it's,
well, no, because what we're saying is that it
Well,
won't
usually,
be,
you put it in the year that you think you're going to vote, that it'll get voted on.
Oh,
I'm not
voted
su-
on.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Okay.
when you think that'll happen.
I stand corrected then.
well, we're gonna vote on the school in 26.
27,
No, we're gonna,
Fiscal
I
year
thought it was this
27.
year.
the referendum is gonna be in.
fiscal year
Fiscal year
27.
27.
Oh, fiscal year
Fiscal year,
27,
yes.
right, sorry. Need more caffeine. So, so the
Doesn't
motion
impact you.
is to update,
You said it doesn't bother you.
it doesn't bother me, but clearly I need something. So my motion is, I move that we update the, school building plan from 50 million to the last number we had, which was
108.
108.
Okay,
and
I'll second
Scott
it.
seconded it. Do we have discussion, or we?
I would just recommend that you indicate or the number as presented by the building committee.
Sure.
It might be something a little different than that.
Yeah, that's
Or
okay.
something like that.
Did you get that, Gabe?
Or recommended by the number from the building committee.
Yeah. The final, whatever that number is.
Hey, Tom, you wanna, I guess we have a 5 million placeholder for the,
Wait, we have to vote on this one first,
oh,
Right.
sorry.
so all in favor? All right.
I
Yeah,
guess, I
Police-
heard a 9
police
million
building.
number.
yeah, the police
Building
renovation.
is at 5 million, and I think that's low.
I heard a $9 million, I don't know.
I'm gonna,
I don't
I'm
know
gonna
what
defer
it
to
is.
Tony to say, what do you think that is?
I honestly don't know.
Where,
So how much we think, and if we have no other number, then we use the 5 million, I guess.
Yeah, I
Even though
I
that seems
honestly
pretty
don't have
low
an
to me.
idea.
Right. I mean, what you were referencing was a published number. Right. For the, in terms of Beecher.
Yeah, in
Right,
terms
so
of
we don't
Beecher,
have
it's
that.
on, it's on
we
there.
don't have one for
Right.
this project.
Right.
Okay, so we
exactly.
won't change
We
that.
won't change, and how about for HVAC? Has
Don't
any
have
question?
one.
Okay.
Okay.
oh, no, not for.
The roofs we
the
do, and
roofs we
that's
do.
that's an estimated, the roof one is from a quote from a vendor.
So do we have that, and that's what's in there?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's move over to the meat and bones. I'm sure Nico wanna
Okay?
go have dinner at some point.
I will let you know the, give me 1 second here. So the total expenditures is 62,277,237. The non-tax revenues, 4,924,157. Amount to be raised in taxes, 57,353,080. A mill rate for real estate and personal property, 34.02, and a motor vehicle mill rate of 32.46.
So I'll make a motion. I can't remember all those numbers, but,
To recommend that to the preliminary budget hearing, is that how it goes?
Correct, recommend to the preliminary
Want me to
budget.
make that motion?
yes, please.
Or did you make it?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll make the numbers that he said to recommend those, that the Board of, sorry.
Did you get that, Gay?
I did, but I will review
Blah, blah,
with
blah.
Tony.
Yeah, right, to recommend, the Board of Finance recommends that to the preliminary budget hearing. Do we need a
Second.
date on that, whatever it is, doesn't matter. April
It's-
28th?
I
No,
have the date.
that's,
Yeah, it's close. That's
can't
Is that
remember.
a second, are you done with?
April 20, very good.
Oh,
I have
pulled it out of
28th.
there.
Impressed.
April 28th, okay, 2026.
Yeah, April 28th,
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Easter is early this year.
Okay, so it was second? We seconded?
Donovan did.
Can I
There's no
second?
discussion.
I guess I'll-
We got a lot of that.
Start about 6:30.
In all the years, most
It's a good
intense budget discussion you've ever seen.
That's certainly true.
But it's a
I
good
think it's
thing.
important.
That's absolutely.
My,
a good
my
thing.
first
Absolutely.
one, so
There you go.
It's a very good thing.
it's not always this.
It's
intense.
Scott and Christina's fault.
Or do I have, right.
No, it's been, we've
I'm on the
been
wrong side of
pushing
the
for,
table, right?
you know, toward this, Scott, so. So it's.
Do we do an all
Did
in
we, did we
favor?
vote?
Vote.
Do we do an all in
Vote.
favor?
All in favor?
Any opposed?
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Are we allowed to say, I mean, what would you like to see changed?
I made my comments around where we were making certain choices.
That's fine, that's fair.
Within, especially, I think there's a lot that came to light tonight where we've found some additional savings, right? Especially on health insurance and things like that, and then also making choices on community center versus public safety.
Okay.
It's,
I didn't want, I just wanted to
Yeah,
better
that-
understand,
that's-
that's all.
Just to make sure we're not misunderstanding what expenses associated with the community center are you indicating?
I mean, I
is a
to
choice
me,
between
to me,
that and
I don't, I'm not 100% on what the community center actually costs, right? I mean, there's a grant that I hear about. It's neutral. There's some line items here. There's some line items there, right? But I mean, it is it's rolling up to a number, and we're making choices not to do things, and that's fair.
Right.
Where I'm coming down. It's not solely the community center. Okay, I mean, I think there are other things. We did get a lot cleared up. I had a lot of questions around the Capitol, right, and what was going to hit in 27 versus 28, and that's good. But
I guess considering that the changes, anything associated or resources associated with the community center are expected to be budget neutral, I'm trying to think of, do you have any suggestions in terms of what we could have cut in terms of, as relates to that? The only other expenses with the community center that are on this budget are utilities.
Well,
And cleaning. So-
okay, so I mean, I will just say I was not comfortable in terms of where the actual funds for the person that is going to run the community center are going to come from. I understand we're splitting somebody's job, but then I'm like, okay, so it's coming from somewhere. It's coming from a grant that's 3 years, right? I mean, basically, if we get it to neutral on the back of a grant.
Not necessarily the case, but I
Okay.
understand you may feel you don't have all that information, and I'll work with Tony to make sure that we do. It's truly not the case, but you don't have that information.
Well, I mean, okay, and this is based on everything that I'm hearing, right? I mean, I have to. Go
And
with
I
the
think
information
you,
that's
I
in
mean,
front of me.
bottom line is, I don't want to, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I was really just trying to understand it, because I would love, after the preliminary budget hearing, for us to try to have a unanimous decision on the budget that's going to go to the town meeting. And so whatever makes all of us comfortable on that would be important for us to understand. So
Right.
So whatever that is for every single one of us, if we have questions or concerns or whatever, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there was a lot that came up tonight that we found in the last couple of weeks, I think, that we're just learning about now, and I'm asking questions as to why we're not funding certain things, and honestly, I also see us, we're chasing decimal points, okay? And we're making choices on, and we want to keep the taxes low. Totally want to keep the taxes low, right? But that's just my takeaway on the process. So, whatever. I have my one vote.
That's
Right.
fair.
And my concern is less about unanimous or not, but it's more about making sure that that the information being provided and the understanding is accurate.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
I mean, so it would be helpful to see how because I mean, things have even changed since the original presentation around the reorganization, right?
But from a budget perspective,
right.
it's expected to be neutral, so we're not adding dollars
Right.
to the budget.
Right.
So what I'm hearing is that you feel we may be able to reduce
Maybe they're
in
saying
that area so
Maybe.
as to be able to,
right.
do
But
something
Mika,
else.
without seeing numbers, I'm kind of like watching the shells going, right? And it is all just conversation. I don't have numbers in front of me to say, here's how much the grant is. Now we're thinking the administrative officer might be a little more expensive, so we better park a little over here, right? Half of Tony's role, then communications person, portion of that, right? So it's. I don't want to make this all about the community center.
And maybe what you just said, Mika, is one of the things we will need to discuss after the preliminary town meeting, which is,
you have a meeting before the preliminary town meeting, and it'll definitely be discussed before that.
well, no, we have to, if we want to have any further discussion before the preliminary town meeting, that would have to be, that we have to decide
do
to
it
meet next
before-
Thursday.
Before,
Correct.
no, I understand that, no, I'm
Right.
saying,
And we
this
could.
doesn't, all I'm saying is that we'll get the information
Yeah.
for the next meeting, won't be after the preliminary town.
Well, so do we want to, well, the question is, I guess that's a question, do we set a placeholder, do we want to meet next week, which is the deadline, right, before the preliminary town meeting, to submit the numbers? Do we want to meet to
To
have
cover.
some of these questions, and we can revise it? I mean, we just approved it to go to the town
Well,
meeting.
right. So I mean, we voted on it. So I don't know. if we-
So it sounds to me that you're not saying the budget's too high, you're saying you just don't like the buckets rather the buckets.
in
which
certain instances,
net
correct.
we're in the same position, but as I look at this budget, and we've literally stripped the meat off the bones on this budget, and it's to a point where unless we're gonna reduce critical services, there isn't much way to go. I mean,
But we can
I said-
shuffle the deck chairs if
Yeah.
that is something we want to do.
I always love to come with a
Shuffle the
solution,
deck chairs.
rather.
I am going to use it.
And again,
So-
I think it's a valid question that we can ask. The only reason I said that we just voted for what's going to happen before the preliminary town meeting.
Right.
If there's information any of us want and need, because we're going to have to meet after preliminary town meeting to make any changes, this is the time to sort of say, let's try to get this, as you said, I like to come with a solution, a suggestion.
Right. I mean, it's.
What
I
do
think
we-
the solution was we uncovered, to my scratch work here, is probably $750,000 since the last meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, and including moving this over here and that, right?
More actually.
Right,
Half
right,
a
right.
million.
So, in all of that,
260, yeah, about half.
in all of that, right? I mean, you can tell me, hey, we're not understaffed in the police department. That's okay. To me, that's like air, water, shelter stuff.
I think for
right?
the
So,
duration of my time on the Board of Finance, the police department has year over year 6 vacancies, 5 vacancies, and
Right.
they've operated. So now we have 1 vacancy. Well,
yeah, okay. we have a difference of opinion. That's allowed.
yeah, but, I mean, to me, just
But I would like, personally,
Right.
I would like us to have a discussion. I mean, let's hear what the town has to say at the preliminary town meeting.
Sure.
Let's see what other numbers that
Yeah.
may come up. Let's potentially explore. I mean,
But Tamika's make a great point, and there's no correlation between the number of staff you have in overtime. And you're in a small business, so you probably know that. You're fully staffed, but you could still, there's,
Right.
but can I put words in your mouth, Scott, and you'll
Sure.
correct me? I didn't think that you were saying to hire another police officer necessarily to reduce the overtime, as much as it is you're concerned about what you heard about having only 30% of the time having only 2 officers.
Yeah,
Available.
That is a huge concern. Yes.
And adding one more officer brings that down to 0%?
I mean, it will be improved, right? I mean, they currently they're adding 2 more, right, that are coming out of training right now. So
So the 30% was before they had hired the 2?
I would have to.
Again,
I'd
I
like
don't
to
want
ask
to put you,
them that
but these are the
question.
questions I think we
Right.
need to have before the next
Right.
one, which is,
Right.
now that they've hired,
Right.
I'm not gonna say added, now they were able to fill 2 positions,
Mm-hmm.
what does that number change? And to Mika's
Right.
point, if we hired 1 more, what is the,
Does it go to 0?
well,
Right.
or does it go
Yeah.
down low enough to make
Right,
a
right.
difference?
Yeah.
I don't know that it has to go to 0,
Right.
but
No, but that was what was,
But-
it was one.
I think that's a good question.
Full complement,
What
yeah.
happens if we do that?
Right.
Right.
in terms of meeting next week, what do we think will materially change besides moving the deck chairs? I mean,
I don't know. I'm comfortable going to the preliminary town meeting as
Yeah.
we have it, but I'm also comfortable with saying in public that we have some more questions that we will want to have, but we want to hear the input first. I don't feel the need to meet next week, because I think we sort of at a position. Let's listen to what the town says. Let's
Right.
see what the
I
status is.
agree. Yeah.
Let's be prepared to ask questions enough time. When, after the town meeting, when do we have to have the final numbers for the,
So you usually meet right after, but we have a little bit of time because we have to get the documentation out in the mail. So, let's see, 27th. We'd have 3 weeks.
You're saying after the
Takes us to
preliminary
May.
budget?
Yeah, so we probably need, you probably need it by the end of that week. so as to get the documents, get the flyer, to get the.
Wait, so if the preliminary meeting is on Tuesday, we have to meet before Friday?
Usually you meet right after the meeting. It's on Tuesday.
But I think we're gonna,
But
I
if
mean,
you need more time, then you're gonna have to meet like either later that week or at the very latest, early the week after.
and do we have, I think personally, I like to schedule those meetings because I think we're
Yeah.
gonna need that. And I think we should
Yeah.
all be thinking about questions we want answered so we can have it in enough time. And the longer we have after the town meeting, I would like to make that gap the longest we can possibly make it. So we can say, here's the extra information we want before that date. That's just my opinion.
So coming out of the hearing.
Coming out of the hearing,
Yeah.
I don't want to vote that night. I want to give us a
Right.
chance to digest and get answers to questions. And so if you say we should vote on Thursday, right, the meeting's on Tuesday, if we think we can get enough if we think after the meeting, we can say, Tony, that night, here are the questions we have, or the next morning, and we can
Right.
get the answers by Thursday, then Thursday sounds reasonable to me.
So I just don't want us to be influenced by an opinion of someone that's gonna be detrimental to critical services, or because we're worried about what someone's gonna comment, or is it logical?
Of course, I mean, but I do think that there are sometimes people who, show up and they scream and yell, and we say, hey, they may have a point, let's at the very least discuss it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, honestly, I think if we don't meet a couple days after, then why are we having the preliminary town meeting?
So
Yeah,
we should probably
just don't
say
wanna be-
Thursday, April 30th, right? If it's possible.
Yes, it's possible.
6 o'clock?
April 30th is not a Thursday.
That's the
Yeah,
Thursday
it's a
after the
Thursday.
28th. I went ahead to
Okay.
look.
The second.
Having said that,
May
You
2nd.
can,
I'm on a plane at 11:20 on Thursday, so,
Ay, ay, ay.
May
Or
2nd.
Friday.
May 2nd?
Are you gone for,
I'm gone for that. I'm going to my niece's graduation.
Come on. what's
should
more
we
important?
try the 29th then?
Second's
How about,
a Saturday.
was that enough time?
The
That's
day
probably
after?
not enough time, right?
I mean, I can talk to Donovan about my concerns.
Can we do
Actually,
Monday?
I might even be able to call, if we can I do it?
That's too late.
Okay, that is.
Monday's too late.
Got it.
I think
That's
so.
okay.
Because
Yeah,
we have
it's the
to,
day we're scheduled for mail and advertise the town.
Oh, that'll
Yeah, no,
be.
oh, yeah, okay.
Can I
Yeah.
call into that meeting?
you could.
I guess I could set up.
Because I'm landing in Detroit early enough that I should be able to
Yeah,
call
you can,
in.
we can put you on the,
Okay, I may be traveling on the 28th as well, but I can call in. I
Okay.
just
We'll
won't
put
be
you both
physically
on the
getting
screen.
It'll be
it.
up there.
Is that
Or
the
I could set up a
preliminary
web
town
Scott
meeting
and I will
meeting?
keep our
No,
heads low.
it's the April
That's
30th is our meeting after, 28th is the preliminary town.
preliminary.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if we meet on the 30th, I'll call in.
Okay. and
Yeah,
Chris-
that's fine.
Okay.
So I'll probably dial into that one as well because I'll be flying back that day as
Okay.
also.
And
I'll
our
make sure my
next
flight's in the
meeting
morning.
is on the 16th of April, right? Our regular
Yes.
board of
Yes,
finance.
if we don't meet next.
We're not meeting next Thursday,
Okay.
right?
Right. So our next one's the 16th of April. That's spring break week. I'm out.
And I just gotta ask the question, when's the next Board of Selectmen when you're voting on the school?
I could. I probably could make that
I
work.
could probably WebEx as well.
And do we have to do
Are
anything?
you traveling?
Tampa.
Oh, I'm going to Disney.
Are you
So I
really?
can do it.
Tony or no?
You can ask Tony, I don't think.
Tony, does the Board of Finance have to do anything after the Board of Selectmen discusses and decides on the school? Is there a timing issue?
so after the selectmen has set a date and a recommendation for the school, it comes to the, you mean about the borrowing?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, I know, my understanding of what's happening with the school is that the next Board of Selectmen, they're gonna discuss and vote on 3 motions or
Right,
proposals.
but one of them is not the referendum date, right, Mika?
What's that?
It was one of those motions, you're not setting the referendum.
No, we're not setting
No,
the referendum.
then you don't have.
Just saying that, and then it comes to us at some point?
After the referendum date, this
There's a resolution required.
resolution is created.
The resolution is created on the 8th. The resolution that the resolution is created on the 8th. It's required by the state that you also show it in the minutes, so.
Which is why, so on April you meet, you approve the minutes in May, at
It's
some,
submitted and it's submitted in June.
and submitted in June, but at some point, my understanding is that the Board of Finance has to say,
It's where the-
there's going to be a referendum for this amount, and here's our
Right, that's
recommendation.
correct, at some point. It's
And
when-
I'm just trying to figure out when, given how tight the timeline is, when is that?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Nor am I.
we will be in a learning mode.
So we learn more as we know, make it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, awesome. So did you
Okay.
change your vote to yes, I imagine? I think I heard him say yeah.
I thought we were wrapping it up.
Yeah,
I was
Oh,
like,
dear.
did
So
this-
is everyone set on April 30th at 6 PM?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, if,
What's going on there? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, as long as we're,
And
that
I'll
week,
call
I'll
you.
just have to dial into both, but yeah.
So are you unanimous on the budget? Next item, first selectmen's report. Sorry, Mika.
I just wanted to make a clarification. During public comment, there was a comment made that there was minimal time to review the proposal for the preliminary budget, about 24 hours. So I need to review that with Tony because I'm not sure exactly what that's referencing. Budget information is put out significantly more than 24 hours before. So I'll just need to look at that. The comment was made, I just don't know where it comes from, so I have to do a little bit more research as far as that's concerned. As far as the report is concerned, the Board of Selectmen did receive a Woodbridge School District update during our meeting Beecher Road School Infrastructure update from the building, from Maria, from our liaison to the building committee. So, and that's where I just shared the information with you that we understood from there in terms of the need for the resolution and the timing for the resolution. We've talked a lot about the administrative officer and director activities that are going on as far as the reorg here in town is concerned. Again, as far as that's concerned, that's where we're looking to make it as budget neutral as possible in terms of the changes that need to be made. The grant does play a part in that, as Tony indicated. We are looking to create that new role that I mentioned, so I don't know that we have to get into that too much. But again, from a budget standpoint, we're hopeful that the budget will not be impacted significantly by what we're looking to do. And so, and as far as the roles in terms of what those people take care of, it will be based on what the requirement is and what's needed in order to forward the town and provide as good and as complete services to the residents as we can. The executive search firm, Randy Frank, I'm hopeful has reached out to some of you already as far as the admin officer is concerned. I'm sorry?
Because I emailed her back and then she emailed me again and said, never heard from it, so I don't know if our emails are going through. Is her work done?
No, not by any stretch.
Okay.
So
Okay.
definitely,
You met with her
no,
today?
she's
Yeah.
definitely looking to,
I
if you
did
haven't
too.
met with her,
Yeah.
reach out, find a way, and if you
Sorry to
can't.
interrupt.
Yeah, no problem.
She's
It's a
meeting
good
with
question.
somebody else next week, so.
No, she's still, I just talked to her yesterday, I think. Yesterday was my day, so, yeah, if you haven't spoken to her, please reach out to either Allison or myself, and we'll make sure that you, or Tony, and we'll make sure that you get on there, because everyone on the Board of Finance is going to be interviewed. So, and she's been doing a number of interviews. She's also interviewing, I don't know if you realize this, she's also interviewing every member of the Board of Selectmen. She's interviewing all the department heads. She's interviewing a number of the board and commission chairs and those that have an impact with what the admin officer would be engaged in, and as well as some other stakeholders. So they're doing a pretty thorough job of that. But definitely reach out to her so that you provide the input. And we also will be setting up a public session, kind of an open house for our public to be able to come in and understand what we're doing and comment on that as necessary as part of the overall process. Our town attorney provided an update as far as the Public Act 25-1 is concerned and some of the deadlines. Right now, there is a meeting scheduled for the 25th next week specifically to discuss the requirement, the zoning requirements that are, that we have a deadline of July 1st to get done by. They really relate to the business district. And so we're meeting not only, we're having a joint Board of Selectmen, Town Planning and Zoning meeting. This is a planning meeting where we will also have members of stakeholder-type commissions. We'll have members of conservation, housing, COOPOP, sustainability, and EDC. And I don't know that I've forgotten any others, but at least those 5 commissions will be represented for us to start to collaborate in terms of what we're doing from a zoning perspective. Initially, and most importantly, as relates to the changes required as a result of PA 25-1, but also we hope to do this same type of collaboration for the broader aspects of what we're doing from a town perspective. It's not something we've done in the past. We feel that it's very important, and we're hopeful that it'll help the public understand exactly what's going on, or better, or just give them another opportunity to, and make sure that that stakeholders like conservation, like housing, feel like they're inputting and they're being heard. There was a building RFQ that went out. We are holding those closed for now, and we're doing that specifically until such time as we identify the building committee. We've gotten members. It'll be the chair of the police commission, one of the members of the police commission, and we've got 3 at-large members who will also be part of that commission. And then in addition to that, there will be non-voting members like Tony, like Nigel Light, who is our building officer, and some others. Tony, I don't know if you remember.
The police chief?
Yes, the police chief will be a non-voting member, and there were 1 or 2 other non-voting members who are obviously integral to that, what we're trying to do there. And we're looking to secure, or we've been awarded, believe it or not, a Sustainable Materials Management Grant. And what that really comes down to is our solid waste, and potentially evaluating whether the town has an appetite for, or is prepared for, or would like to do a pay-as-you-throw type of a program that would help not only in terms of environmentally, in terms of reducing the amount of, because it includes composting and food scraps, so it would reduce the amount of solid waste, but it also obviously would reduce some costs. It's a grant. We were awarded, believe it or not, over $200,000 for the grant. The first phase, there's 3 phases. The first phase, the third phase is really after you do everything, just kind of assessing it. The first phase is simply an education. So what we've taken to the board, or what we'd like to take to the board, and we're hoping that we'll get a resolution for at our next regular meeting, is just a resolution that indicates we will participate in phase 1. Phase 1 doesn't obligate you to do anything else, but what it does do is provide funding somewhere upwards of $17,000 for us to have a community education opportunity to assess whether or not the town wants to move forward with anything else related to this. But there are other communities, Guilford, Madison, Kent, Deep River, Southbury, who have successfully moved forward with phase 2 of the project, and things seem to be working pretty well for them so far.
I'm sorry, what's phase 2?
Phase 2 is actually the implementation of the
Okay.
program itself, and
Thank you.
and how
Makes
that works.
sense.
So the initial phase, and we don't have a ton of information on it, or actually I do have a ton of information on it, but the initial phase is what we're really truly interested in, and that's really just the assessment. That's really just education and assessment to see exactly what we would like to do.
Try to make the reduce in tonnage is through the composting? Is that the?
That's a big part of it, yes. But it's also, you use, for example, in Guilford, they use very specific bags for very specific types of solid waste. And that you buy the bags, and those are the only ones you can take to the transfer station type of thing. So it kind of creates a situation where residents or people, almost, it kind of makes them think about what's going in. So it's not throwing everything into one thing and then just throwing it out, and it just it helps, and that's where it helps in terms of environmentally significantly.
I know I'm interrupting.
But
Do you have any idea whether that improves, because having been on sustainability and other stuff, that a lot of what goes into recycling when it leaves our transfer station, doesn't go to recycling? Do you have any knowledge that if it's in a bag for recycling, does it actually get recycled, or?
The information we're receiving is that it significantly improves that situation specifically. I don't have the details as to how, and that's
good,
where,
yeah.
that's one of the things, why we go through this process of understanding that type of thing. So the first part is really just to see, use that $17,000 to let the town know what we're doing and see if it's something that the town is interested in moving forward with. Any questions for me?
Then we haven't
The
interrupted
community
you.
center moves forward. We expect, I'm saying, we expect completion by the end of, toward the late spring, early summer timeframe. We do need to do some paving in terms of the outside work, so that can't be done obviously until the weather is conducive for it, and we're not there yet. So I expect it really to be ready and usable in late spring. I'm hoping that we're actually toying with the idea of doing something. If you recall, last year we did 06525 Day because it's on June 5th, 25 was our zip code, and we're looking to maybe leverage that date as a grand opening in 26 to just be able to do something along those lines. And any questions? That's it for me.
Thank you, Nico.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Liaison reports? Seeing none? One?
I pretty much gave you my report from
That's right.
the 4 hour, but I just got to say hi to Tony when I was over there.
Yeah.
I have a quickie. I'll do a quickie.
Go ahead.
Unless Tom, you got anything from Beecher?
Go ahead, Bob.
I have some minimal stuff,
Yeah,
so you can go
yeah.
first. That's it.
I did attend the fire commission meeting on Monday night, the 16th, and as we've heard already, they continued to discuss the building maintenance and apparatus issues that are having a budgetary impact now and will continue to do in the future. Interestingly, the tower truck has arrived.
It's here.
Yeah, it
It's
came
here.
this past Tuesday, and they hope to, I guess there'll be some training and stuff, and it'll be operational early April. So that's good stuff. Open burning permits are going to be now issued by the fire marshal. I don't know where they were before that for an ordinance. They're gonna start that up again. Maybe Mika, you know about that more than I do, but
Fire chief and the fire marshal have been appointed as our open burn
There you go.
officials. Mhm. And so if there's applications for that, for permits to do that, that's where they go.
Where did they used to go? Just out of curiosity.
As far as I know, they and others within the fire department have always been the officials. But what happens is you have to make sure your certifications are completely up to date, and sometimes you have to do a little bit more. So we had to make sure that those were all completed. So we hadn't appointed them as part of in the beginning of the year, and I think they go for 10 years. So they had to be recertified, and once they were, we're good to go.
Great.
And over the past month, the
Speaking
guys
of-
have spent several nights staying overnight at the firehouse because of the storms. And, they are all volunteers, and they just leave their families for 24 or 36 hours and stay there because they can't get to the firehouse to respond to a call. We've had a terrible winter, so we really thank them. I know the town does a lot.
Absolutely.
But it was an amazing winter. And maybe it's not over yet, but I'm hoping it is. So, and then lastly, their annual fundraiser. I hope everyone will try to make it. I think is June 6th. So that's all I have on that.
Thank you.
Did I just
I
bring
think
up
the
that
fire
date?
chief just walked in here.
Um,
I'm giving an update from my liaison report. Yeah.
I don't know, since you're here, Sean, I guess we were kicking around the truck and trying to understand, I guess we already voted on the budget anyways, but just so the public have an understanding, because we were thinking that, do we really know what's wrong? But I'm sure you've
This is
taken
the
it to
fire
a
chief's
mechanic
vehicle.
and
Your vehicle.
Oh, the Suburban.
Yeah.
a mechanic have looked at
2017
it.
Suburban. It's got roughly 65,000 miles on it. It's got an electrical issue where if you drive down the road, the lights go out, the dash goes out. The car still runs, but everything goes blank. We took it to the dealer. Dealer says we would probably need a new main wiring harness, the main trunk of it, but they're still not sure if that would fix the problem. And the cost of that would probably be about $9,000. and they don't know if that's gonna fix the problem. So the recommendation was vehicle's 9 years old to replace it. Even though it's got 65,000 miles on it. The other car is a 2011 and it's got 130,000 miles on it. But this car's been sitting since July. I haven't driven it. I've been driving my personal vehicle. So it's just, I don't feel safe during the day if we drive it and the lights go out. I can't tell you if the emergency lights are on or off at night. Even if the dash goes off, at least you can see the lights, the emergency lights in the background if they're on or off. The siren you can hear, but the siren could stay on, the lights could go off. I just don't feel comfortable driving that car,
Safety
especially
issue.
during the day. And at night, everything's black. So there's definitely an issue with the main wiring harness.
Yeah.
But even replacing that, they don't know if that's going to correct the issue. It's some type of electrical issue within the vehicle.
All right, good. Thank you for that. 'Cause,
And Sean, we just had a couple questions in terms, I mean, you already said things, you know, the emergency lights and other stuff. Is there anything else in that vehicle that is specific to
So
fire?
the dash goes off.
No, I just mean, like, just for.
The car runs fine. Everything runs fine. It's just it's
Until
all
it's- until it
electronics that
doesn't.
are just.
But do you have specialized fire, I mean, other than the lights and sirens and stuff?
Yeah, so we have there's portable radios there's a portable radio in the back. There's flashlights in the back. There's all equipment in the back of that vehicle.
But not
It's-
wired into the car itself?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is, okay.
So
Oh, to charge it and
To
stuff.
charge it up.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just for clarity. If the dash goes out, it's all digital, so you can't even see how fast you're going. You can't see your
Right, so
your fuel.
so
you
all
can't
the
see
new
anything.
cars are all digital display, so you can't tell. And it's got a heads-up display. Everything is dead, so everything goes dead in the car. So you don't know how fast you're going. You don't know any of the mechanics in the car. I mean, everything is just black inside the vehicle. That's why we're looking to replace it before the 2011. We've had them in the budget for the last 2 years. It's been pushed back, pushed back. This car has been sitting in the garage or in the firehouse since July. I've been driving my personal vehicle. I don't feel comfortable driving it to an emergency scene. Not saying you can't drive it from here to there without any emergency lights going, without driving here to there, and it's okay. In an emergency situation, you can't drive the vehicle. I don't feel comfortable doing it, and I wouldn't recommend it. The other car is a 2011, which was on the budget, which was on the docket this year. The car is just rotting out. I mean, when you look at it, these cars, when they're driven hard. So the car is 15, going to be 16 years old. I mean, it's got a lot of rot. It's been recommended to be replaced a few years ago. We've been trying to Band-Aid these things through, so because it keeps getting pushed out, and we're at the point where that car is going to have to be pulled out of service also because we have rot on it also. So at some point, we need to figure out a plan to move forward. I mean, to hold a vehicle for 9 or 10 years is actually a good thing instead of 5 or 6 years. But at some point, we need to replace them, especially when they're emergency vehicles. They're not just transport vehicles.
Do you, because it sounds like you buy them brand new, would you buy them fairly used, like get two fairly used versus?
You don't want to buy
brand new?
used in emergency vehicles, whether you buy police vehicles or fire vehicles, because you have to outfit the vehicle. So by the time you outfit the vehicle with emergency lights, the radios, the flashlights, and everything else, that cost alone is probably close to $15,000 just to outfit a vehicle,
Got it.
especially on the fire side of it, I can tell you.
Yeah.
So to buy a vehicle that's already 5 years old, that maybe you get 5 years out of, the upfront cost to put the stuff into the vehicle, you want to try to get as much time out of the vehicle as you can.
Got it.
So I understand it's
Do we
it's
finance
money, and
those,
I
or-
understand. The car is 9 years old. If it was 5 years old, maybe we'd have a different conversation. Maybe we want to spend $8,000, $9,000 and try it. But at 9 years old, it's probably, according to the dealer, it's really not worth trying to put the money into the vehicle, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, and you're throwing good money after bad.
Yeah, thanks. That clears things up. 'Cause sometimes people hear new vehicle. How old is it? And,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
but the vehicles we're looking to replace, they're not like 3, 4, 5 years old with, I don't know, 10, 15, 20,000 miles on them. They are north of 60,000 miles on them. They are, and remember, in the fire service world, it's not necessarily miles you have to look at, it's hours. So the vehicle will sit there and idle for hours. Like I was out the other night when we had the windstorm, and we were on Pease Road, for a couple hours. We had 6 calls the other night during the windstorm, and I was probably out from about 11:30 to 3:30 in the morning, just with my personal vehicle. So when you base it, you got 4 hours of vehicle time. Even though the town's not that big, we're going from here to there, but you're sitting there and you're idling. And idling, there's a cost with idling. It's not necessarily miles with fire trucks. It's more has to do with hours. It's like our old ladder truck, right? So we got our ladder truck back the other day, and they had to change the odometer on it because it was bad. But the old truck only had less than 16,000 miles on it. It's the hours that when the truck's on scene and it's running and it's pumping, and that's what you have to look at. So it's all comparative to what it is. So even though we may have 60,000 miles on it, we truly may have 80 or 90,000 miles on the vehicle. So I think that's important for you guys to understand that it's not necessarily, you can't look at miles when it comes to fire apparatus or even police vehicles. Hours is a big thing with vehicles nowadays.
And Sean, thank you for that, because we knew that from the police department, and I assume that for the fire trucks, but it makes sense that it's for your vehicle as well.
For example, we had the Fatal Fire a few weeks ago. We were there for multiple hours. We were there probably for that truck. We had multiple trucks working for probably 2 hours to control the fire. But you're talking, those are hard hours. It's easier to drive the truck from here to there. Once the truck gets there, it goes into PTO. The engine's still running it, but it's running a different way. So it's running the pump instead of running the wheels. It's running the pump, and that's what the wear and tear in the vehicle. So those trucks were ridden hard for a few hours the other day, and then they get sit and they're idling for 8-10 hours at a clip if we're on a scene for that long.
And it's probably worse for the engine to do that
It
than it
is.
is to drive.
It is,
so-
and you're revving. You're at a higher idle. So instead of being at a low, you're running it and you're working the truck harder. It's also bad when the truck sits in idles, because the newer trucks with the emissions and everything, when it sits in idles, that's not good either. You want it up really in a high idle position where it's burning off the emissions and everything else. So that works with us in like a public works vehicle where you need it to work. So you can't look at miles, you have to look at hours also, and there's a comparative, and hours are worse than miles are on vehicles, just so you guys are aware, because, and I wouldn't expect you guys to know that unless you're in it, because I didn't understand it at first until you start learning it and understanding it. But like I said, we have the 1992 tower, and it has less than 16,000 miles on it. It's the hours that kills it.
Yeah.
To chase an electrical problem nowadays with a vehicle, it's almost impossible. It's just an open-ended checkbook, and you may fix it, you may not find it. You could have a door alarm, and we have them on the trucks now. It's sometimes you drive down the road, you hit a bump, the door alarm goes off, and it stays an alarm until we change the sensor out on one of the doors. Otherwise, the thing will keep beeping and beeping and beeping like there's an open door, but there's no open door until you change. There's magnetos in the roll-up doors. There's magnetos in them, and if the magneto just moves a little bit, you have to change the magneto and do it. Otherwise, it stays an alarm. They're all smart. Like, we were at a fire a week ago, and not to kill time or whatever with you guys, because I know you guys want to go home, but we went to a fire the other day. It was a 10x20 shed. It was fully involved, and I ended up driving the truck, believe it or not. I pulled in the driveway, pulled the hose off. I went to go put it in pump. I got out of the truck, and the whole pump panel's dead. So all the new pumps are all electronic now. So instead of pulling levers like you used to do, now they're all electronic. Now you hit the buttons, the valve would open, the valve will close. It all has to do with safety, firefighters getting hurt, drivers getting hurt. Well, what happened was we lost a contact within the pump, and the whole pump was dead. So the truck, we pulled into the driveway to drop the hose. the truck was completely dead because we couldn't pump through it because you can't open the valve. So the second truck in, we ended up having to pull the hose an extra 200 feet, abandoning the truck that was in the driveway to go and put the fire out. And the truck just came back today from that call. So
So, now, I guess you
There are
guys hear
issues.
the fire chief's using his personal vehicle,
I am.
which I'm not sure, we're not gonna replace your personal vehicle.
But I've been doing that since July.
Since July, yeah, so, I don't know if we could, I guess we have to wait till July 1st.
So just
to get a
remember,
new
if we
can he-
approve this,
can he-
the vehicle takes roughly 3 months to come in. I don't know if anybody's ordered a vehicle. Into that, it's roughly a 3-month lead time. And then you have to send it out, get the lights put on. That's usually a month to a month and a half. So usually if we were to order a vehicle today, you won't see it for 4 and a half months. So realistically, if you order in July, we won't see it until sometime in the fall.
So, I guess technically we approved the budget, so, I mean, if you wanna work with Tony and,
Yeah, is there anything we can do? 'Cause
Is in your
it seems
personal
sort of
vehicle,
silly to wait
I-
another 5 months,
right,
but I don't know.
Not this year. Not with all our challenges that we've had.
yeah, only.
We've had challenges within the fire department this year with our HVAC equipment. And I'm sure that's
What
gonna
you could
come
do
up at
is,
some
once,
point.
if it goes through the process and it gets approved at the town meeting, at that point,
You could start.
you could start the process.
I'm not looking for you guys to jump the gun now, and I understand and I appreciate it, and I understand the budget process. I've been doing this long enough. But I think at some point, we need to look at different, I mean, we're gonna be coming back probably in another month about our repair maintenance line, and I don't know if Tony's briefed you on it.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so we've had quite a few repairs just this year on vehicles, and the more technology that's in the vehicle, the more issues there are, and it's just where we are right now. It's been a tough year. Next year, I think will be a tough year. Next year, it's gonna be it's called a brake year, where all the wheels have to come off the trucks, the brakes have to get checked, and when you do that, just to pull the wheels off the trucks, it's roughly $1,500 just to take a look at the brakes and assess what needs to happen, not including if we need a brake job or not. We had to do that with one of the trucks just recently. It does add up. That year is coming next year. We usually do that every 3 years.
Sorry,
The
Sean,
tr-
just to be clear, that's
Sure.
26, 27, or 27, 28?
Next year, 27, 28.
Okay.
So we're gonna have quite a few trucks doing that. We try to space them out so we don't get hammered all in one year. We've been doing good the last 2 years where our repair line has been down. Before that, we were spending roughly 120, 130,000 a year, Tony, if I.
Yeah, that's correct.
Roughly that for
Yep.
multiple years. We've been good. We've been right there on budget. This year, we're over budget. Next year, it's gonna be a tight year once again. I don't know if we're gonna be, we'll probably know in January if we're gonna be okay or we're gonna be over budget. Usually January is the month we really know where we stand. Depends on the equipment and what the repairs are. So it's tricky. It's hard for me to stand up in front of you and the Board of Selectmen explaining that, hey, this happened. It's where we are. I mean, the building, I feel bad. I know everybody looks at it as a brand new firehouse. It's not really new anymore. It's 18 years old. The equipment is more, some of it, we've had the engineer in. We paid for an engineer to come in and an assessment company to come through and assess it. They're looking at roughly $1 million in HVAC upgrades because right now, I have no way to control the heat, so we're spending roughly $20,000 a month in utilities. We're spending roughly $15,000 a month in gas, and we're spending over $5,000 in electric, where I think if we had a better system that we can control, we'd probably be in the $6,000-$7,000 range, and we'd probably save that money, but there is an upfront cost to do it. And I know the building officials are gonna come and discuss it when the report comes out and we have all the information. It's really, it's hard to stand there because if we were talking pre-COVID, the numbers probably wouldn't be that bad where we are now. Every escalation, inflation, everything is so high, it's just, it's out of sight. And I mean, we feel bad, I'm sure all the other departments feel bad, and I know you guys are in a tough pinch, the Board of Selectmen's in a tough pinch. Just, we're at the point here where I think we're due for, some type of an upgrade where we can try to keep numbers down, but it's gonna cost us money to do that rather than throwing good money out the window. Right now, I feel like we're taking $20 bills and throwing them out the window with utilities because we can't control them. If there was a way to control it, I'm all in. I mean, I know there was a talk about bringing another company in just to look at energy savings.
Yeah.
Right?
It's being done.
Right. So, I mean, that's another thing, but at some point, we know there's an issue, we have to correct it, and we gotta figure out a way to pay for it, where it's beneficial to everybody here. I mean, to have me come and discuss it and this and that, I could talk to you for 10 hours about it. I mean, I sit in meetings after meetings, and it's hard because I'm in the business, I see it, I understand what the issue is, and to correct it, there's not an easy or cheap fix just to get us by.
So just to clarify, Tony, in the infrastructure bonding that we're looking at, the fire, the heating system in the firehouse is not part of it, right? That's
What's that?
in the bonding.
That's
that
considered as part of that.
it's part of,
Yeah.
so I think they're looking at bonding, it's part of the bonding that we're looking at.
We're
And I would
Okay.
recommend that.
So, yeah,
Because
So it's
we're
been
just
looked at.
throwing good money after bad, especially at the new firehouse, which isn't new, but everybody classifies it as
Yeah.
new. I would definitely recommend looking at that, because the way I look at it is, I'd rather spend some money and save the money that we're spending now, because at some point, we have to fix it and we have to replace it.
Yeah,
That's where you're gonna be fiscally more responsible to do, rather than just throwing good money after bad and not fixing the problem.
I agree. Sounds like it's in Tony's numbers.
Yeah, in case you didn't hear, I mean, we're gonna go bonding for HVAC and stuff for all the town.
And I
buildings.
think-
That includes the firehouse.
Yeah, and I think
includes
that's a really good thing, and I think that's a responsible thing for you guys to look at and do. I mean, because some of this equipment, an air handler lasts you 20 to 25 years. I mean, we're at 18 years, but I can tell you by going through all this, the air handlers that were put on the firehouse, the economizers. So the air handlers all have economizers on them, so it brings the outside air in, it mixes, and it tries to be efficient. Well, the economizers that were put on at the firehouse, they were the low-end economizers. So we could replace the economizer, we'd have to replace the main circuit board in the air handler. And by doing that, we're only a couple $1,000s from replacing the unit, the motor and everything else. So the engineer at that point is saying, you're better off replacing the whole unit and getting another 20 to 25 years out of it, rather than trying to piece, and you might save a few grand here, a few grand there. You're better off paying to put a new unit on and not having to worry about it. On top of that, you end up getting a warranty on top of it. So it benefits us, probably could be for another 3 to 5 years. So if anything goes wrong with those units, they would come out and they would fix them or replace them. So I know when we do capital budget and operating budget, we only have a certain amount of time, but if you guys have questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. I was in EMT tonight, so I know you guys were meeting, and I've never seen a Board of Finance meeting go
Yeah,
this long.
thanks for stopping in.
It's good, so I decided to come over. I don't know what you guys talked
There are no
about.
more,
guys have questions, I'm all
The
ears.
whole thing.
You
What's
answered
that?
you answered some really
Rewind
important
the
questions
YouTube.
tonight, so thanks for showing up. So.
Yeah.
thanks.
Thank you.
I think, Scott, you had a liaison, or maybe you guys want to?
Oh, on
Thank you.
police,
You
I
done?
sort of got my.
And I sort of mentioned, I talked to the superintendent about, the budget, and I sort of mentioned the.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Sean.
Steve.
The only thing I'll just say, in case people didn't listen to it or hear, that the Board of Ed voted to, I guess I'm probably gonna get the words wrong, but authorize the superintendent to get into a contract for pre-referendum, I guess, messaging, or I'm not, anyway, that was the only other thing that they did, is a part of the process.
Is that part of the pack? Is that?
No, I think it's separate, it's,
No, this is part of the actual project itself.
Actual
It's the third
project
part,
itself,
it's the
separate
last
from
part
the
of the project. Well, that's part of the consultant engagement itself. So it's part of the overall process itself.
The PAC, I think, is designed for when
The advocacy.
yeah, and when, you know, when we, all town officials have to get into a quiet period, is that what it is, before the referendum?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But average citizens don't have that, so.
Right.
So this is the consultant to help up to that point. Right, is that the fair?
Yeah, pretty much.
Did we get a consensus from Chris, because last time we met with him, we have the non-educational expenses. He was thinking of maybe meeting with Tony and see how maybe some of that stuff could be get that off his budget, share the cost.
We didn't talk about that
He was
because we're
thinking
mostly
about
focused on the
budgets.
budget issues. I've
Yeah.
talked to him in the past, and I think he's amenable to that, and maybe I'm just gonna spout off, you know, off the top of my head, is that maybe when we have the new administrative officers, some of these economies of scale could potentially be, you know, consolidation could be reexamined, and
Yeah.
and everybody can sort of have a discussion about we were discussing this, was I was on the Board of Ed, however many years ago that was, you know, in terms of certain towns have pulled off non-educational aspects of the budget out of the Board of Ed and back to the town. I think there are pluses and minuses that could be discussed.
Safety, blah, blah, blah.
But that has not been, that has not been discussed really.
And then, I mean, just a general comment, we probably should try to your point, we probably try to centralize some of our IT stuff to see where we could, say, fire has its own cyber, we have our own cyber.
I think it's something, personally, I think it's something the town should examine, one,
Something.
even if it's not necessarily a cost saving, if we, I mean, I think, Tony, you mentioned at the last meeting that there was a town that had, you know, a ransomware attack, and two. So, I mean, I just think that it may be something, in my experience, that if you have more, and maybe we do it as a, you know, a service agreement with other towns, et cetera, that if we get a higher quality cybersecurity expertise, it might be worth it. But that's a next month discussion.
Right.
I guess I want to adjourn, but I guess I was reading Amy's suggestion here regarding the community center and making it a nonprofit, which I thought was volunteer nonprofit. I thought it was interesting. I mean, not for tonight, but sounds like, I don't know, something we could think about later on.
I wonder how that was organized way back when, right? Because she was referencing the Darling House.
Massaro and,
Yeah.
Right.
Darling House.
Massaro and.
I don't know how
Darling House.
I don't know how the Darling thing, so Massaro, because I'm on the board of Massaro as well, and you know, that was, it's town property that was leased for farming purposes.
Yeah.
And we're in charge of basically all the expenses in
Right.
lieu of some taxes and stuff, so I don't know how it would work for the community center. I think it's an intriguing thing to examine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
worth looking at.
It's,
Yeah.
it's different than I think.
I think it's different.
What she mentioned in
different.
terms of how you
Yeah.
do it, obviously, it's actually a town building. Yes, Darling House is a town building.
And Massaro is a town building, but it's different.
Right.
But the services they offer, I think, are what's
Correct.
different, right?
Right.
I think the level of labor that you're gonna need is probably higher. It'd be challenging to secure,
Yeah.
volunteers.
Well, I also think that it's a town service. I mean, it's specifically a
Yeah.
town service, and yes, there's this, I have to be careful, right? Because, yes, Massaro provides a town service, but it's not, and Darling provides a town service, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of other towns doing farming their community center
Yeah.
function out to volunteers, but, you know what,
Could be worth looking at.
Yeah.
that's the way I look
Yeah.
at it. There's nothing to say we shouldn't consider what can be done, but it doesn't necessarily change anything in terms of the reorg that I've been talking about.
All right, thank you. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
I'll vote against it because it's only 9:30.
I'll second.
I'm gonna throw something at you.